Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome in. It's day 2 of the Star Wars Unlimited Regional Qualifier action here in Minneapolis, Minnesota. I'm joined by your boy,
Bobby Sapphire. What's going on? What's up, everybody? It's your boy, Bobby Sapphire, here with C-Raptor. We're going to cast some games. We've got a hot one right off the bat. Jay from Unplayable versus Frank from Boston Network.
Indeed. The match of the century, I suppose. Now, here's the thing. I got to walk over and do some stuff manually on the table. So entertain the audience for a minute, and I'll be.
That's what I do.
You're good at that.
Entertain the
You're
audience.
good at that. I'll be right back once I go get the match vitals. Okay?
Yeah, you got it. So there's a lot of hype matches this round. Obviously, when you cut to day 2, and there's a lot of good players out there. My teammates are unfortunately playing in the first round. Ophir Wu is paired against CJ Kronos. It's going to be a Kira versus Sabine match. Just looking at the top tables, trying to pick out what other people are doing. Unfortunately, I have to look at myself right now, so I don't know how to control any of C-Raptor streams. But I will say this, I'm in the chat. So if you want to hit me up, what up, Yame? Anything you want to talk about, anything you want to ask, I'll be providing the color. I'll be trying to provide some insights into these matchups. I've got 5 of my teammates, including my little brother, who are in the top 64 here, so I'm pretty hyped about that. I'm hyped to be following along and casting. I'm really excited to be here with C-Raptor. Looks like I can't tell who the other matches are on the other channels. But let's take a look at the stats. So Kira, Han, and Sabine, the big 3. Each 8 represented in the top 64. And then Han, Rey, Vader are the next 3. And then there's actually 5 Cad Bane, 4 Tarkin Town, 1 Data Vault.
Ooh.
Pretty shocking.
Ooh, I can put that up. Hang on a minute.
Morning, guys.
There you go. There's the list. So,
well, Maddie's already paired up. So as wild as Maddie is, he knows if he sat down next to me when pairings were up, I would lose my mind as team dad and big brother. Yeah, so these, I mean, we know, right? Kira, Sabine, and Han are the big 3, but I'm not sure I thought that Han 2 would have been the Han that comes in as in the top 3. Certainly thought he was going to be one of the 5 most represented, but to see him representing here, 8 total, tied with Sabine and Kira. A little surprised, but it's a really good deck. It's one that my brother's on. We've seen, if you're watching any of the streams yesterday, you saw Cole Lapine from Canada. He's an old Star Wars CCG player. Well, an erstwhile Star Wars CCG player. I don't want to call him old. I think he's younger than me. But he beat Maddie on stream with Han 2 Blue. And Wu said to me, like, I think we've been sleeping on that deck. That deck used to be good. We used to play it a lot. It used to be one of the things we first found to beat Kira. And then it's a deck that we've kind of gotten away from the last few weeks. So in the off chance I hit up the Red Seal PQ next weekend, I'm going to do some Han 2 Blue grinding probably tonight.
all right, we are ready. So why don't we meet our players, ladies and gentlemen? On the left-hand side of your screen, that is going to be J-Trash from the Unplayable Podcast. That's literally what he told me he wanted me to call him. I was like, okay, that's what I'm going to call him.
I know. I was wondering if you were going to say Jeremiah.
Yep.
No, that's J-Trash.
Yep.
Put me in, coach.
And then I got to fix his leader and base, so that's going to be wrong for a minute. On the right-hand side of your screen, I've got to obviously go make a camera adjustment there. That's Frank. Frank was on stream at the area end of Swiss yesterday as well, and he's back again on the table. I'll go fix that camera here in just a moment.
Yeah, funny thing about Frank was about a week and a half ago, he he left all the Discords, he left all his Patreons. He's like, I'm out of the game. I'm too busy at work. I'm not getting distracted by Star Wars Unlimited.
Let's fix this.
And then he shows up in Minnesota. He goes 7-1-1 with the team deck for Boston Network, the Vader Yellow, which we're about to see.
Hey, Lincoln. What?
And he's here against Jay from Unplayable. 1 second, sorry.
All right, let's try that one more time. There we go. There's the match.
Just talking about this matchup.
Oh, they just started the timer.
I didn't, so you got the advantage.
Well, this is going to be fun. Whatever happens. Hey, I'm already just making day 2.
Sorry, something was going on with my brother. I was trying to see what it was.
Oh, okay. I'm going to go fix this camera while we're
Okay.
taking a moment here. These guys are just about ready, and I'm going to let the judges know to turn them loose whenever they want.
Even if I lose out here, I don't care.
Yesterday, I got my first match loss was in round 1 because I didn't have 50 cards in my deck.
No.
What happened with Matt?
But I only lost game 1 technically, but then I only got a chance to play one game and lost, so I was like, okay, that was dumb. I got a DQ loss in game 1 because I only had 48 cards.
That stinks.
Sponsored.
But that's my only.
All right, sorry, I had to check them. I had to go Big Brother for a moment. Sorry, stream.
It helped.
Yeah, so Jay and I actually test a lot with this Han Green. I worked on Han Green a lot with Alex Blandon, and so Jay's been talking to me. We've gotten some games over the last couple weeks. Pretty much chatting every day, just like talking about Han lines, doing some testing. So we've definitely run this matchup. I think he's going to be looking to find his Fast Falcon or his ambush ship. One thing that's interesting is right before the tournament started, as Jay said to me, he's been playing his haulers really aggressively, and it's been working out. And then Frank also said to me before this round started that he's been loving haulers in his deck because people kill them thinking that they're going to have that hauler for the rest of the game. But that Vader deck is actually skewed to get that hauler back.
It's interesting to me because we didn't see him when we had him on stream yesterday at the end of Swiss. We did not see him play a hauler. I guess he just didn't come up in all 3 games. When you say skewed to get it back, you mean
a lot of bounce, like
yeah.
you see Waylay in his hand right now.
Yes.
Geonosis Patrol Fighter, he can steal it with the Sanctioner Shuttle.
Right.
So,
Right.
I don't know if that's good value for your Sanctioner Shuttle, but it's certainly like
I literally watched
when your opponent overworks to get that hauler,
Right.
and then you just take it away from him.
Yeah.
That's kind of where the value comes in. It's just how much can you overtax someone. Now, the thing about Jay's deck, if Jay is Jay's start is going to be that he's looking for is going to be Falcon into Han Pilot, so he can kill that hauler without taking it back and have his own hauler and be way ahead. Now, all I mean to say is that hauler is a huge liability on both sides because we're going to be working almost predominantly in the space lane at the beginning of this game.
Do you think that either player, as we get to game 2, at some point will be sideboarding? Do you think they cut him out? Do you think they leave him in and take the risk?
If I were Frank, I'd probably cut him. But I don't know their list, and I don't know
That's true,
their,
we don't.
their tactic.
Don't know the list yet.
So I just think that the Han Pilot on a Falcon is just going to kill. Like I mentioned, that the hauler becomes value for you when your opponent overworks to kill it. They spend resources to kill this big thing in space, but Jay isn't going to have to work that hard when he just plays a Han Pilot.
There, Frank. I did you a solid. I gave you a shout-out. There it is. He prominently placed that blonde Sabine pin right there on the table.
Oh,
I have
nice.
one of those as well. His lovely wife gave me one in Mobile. I use it because it's with the little end here designed to manage screens. It's really good for running the stream deck.
Yeah, I love pens. I'm a big pen guy.
Are you one of those guys that spends hundreds of dollars on cross pens and stuff?
No, but I'm
Okay.
an English teacher. I like my pens. I was a writer growing up, So I said in my rider that I need to have Energel, and Wes hooked me up with fine tip Energel.
I'm
0.5. That's exactly
I'm a
what I need.
0.5 guy. I cannot go I'm usually a pilot 0.5 guy, but I just anything that's 0.5.
The one thing I do have is the metal Energel.
Oh, hey, look.
We're already
There's a game.
We already missed the action. So yeah, we did see. So one of the things I said we're looking for is the Fast Falcon out of Jay, and obviously he's here. Took out Frank's turn 1 play.
Yeah,
of
looks like a
Mining
Republic
Guild
Y-Wing.
I think it's a Mining Guild tie.
Oh, okay.
And then Frank comes back with the Eager Escort Fighter. Yeah.
2 Falcons is a great start for you.
Yeah.
This is what you want.
And if they can hear Frank, he said 2 Falcons is a great start.
They can hear what we can hear.
Cool.
Correct.
And I'm actually surprised that Jay blew up Han here. Maybe he thinks Han's a little bit of a liability as a pilot because he knows that there's Waylay in Frank's deck. So yeah, it looks like Jay is not interested in suiting up his Falcon and getting blown out by a Waylay. I would imagine if he had a Chewbacca, he might. But that Sanctioner Shuttle can blow out Chewbacca, so I think he's just thinking pilots are a liability at the moment.
It's interesting because we were having this chat a little bit yesterday as well because we saw some units over the course of the day get really, really heavy with upgrades. It was, I think, Ryan Warner's game on stream with Sabine. He had an Alliance X-Wing that I think at one point had 7 upgrades on it.
That's
And
wild.
yeah, it was 4 of them were experience tokens, and then he had a perilous position, I think an R2 pilot and something else, and it was like, this is insane. I was told upgrades were dead, ladies and gentlemen.
So I'm going to expect Jay to actually start moving to the ground. One of the things that people get caught up in how they lose to Vader is when they spend way too much time trading
Trying
out.
to fight him.
Yeah. So, Victor Leader is a guy that you really need to take off the board. But because Jay has a Falcon, he's not going to have too much of a problem doing that if he needs to. But here I expect Jay to do possibly a Resupply or a Kira or Blue Leader here. Yeah, he's going to Blue Leader. And I'm not sure what the best move here is with this Blue Leader. Yeah, so I don't love this play because he's just going to get eaten by the TIE Fighter.
Matters.
No, I should do
Just
that.
for consistency, I guess.
I haven't seen Jay's hand. Frank's doing a really good job of showing us his hand, which is nice.
Frank is one of the most enjoyable people to watch on camera because he's having done this, he knows how to be camera friendly.
Yeah.
But I have signage on the table that warns them if you keep your hand over the mat, it will appear on camera at some point. So if you don't want us to know, hold it back off the edge.
Ah, okay.
Not that everybody reads my signage, because I also tell them they're on a live mic, and half the time they forget.
So it looks like Frank wanted to play the Victor 2 pilot here with his extra 1 resource, but he has to take this trade. He has to trade a TIE Fighter into Blue Leader. He can't leave a 3 attack on the board.
Yeah, see how he plays his hand out there?
Yeah. And obviously he had the option to play the Clone Combat Squadron this turn and make it a 4/4, but I think it seemed like he wanted to slow roll it a little, make Jay commit to a lane before he decided to play it. But I think Frank is he really wanted to attack for 3 here, is my guess.
Okay.
All right, so he is going to do it.
Going to play Victor Wingman 2. Get
so
another
now
token.
the only play he has is to go face, but now Blue Leader gets to free trade back into that. So I think we'll see open attack Blue Leader into the 3/3, and then Falcon.
Isn't that only a hit for 2? Why is there 3 damage there?
Which one?
So
he's got the pilot on it. And
oh,
Victor
it's Victor Leader.
buffs.
My
Yeah.
apologies. Yes, I'm an idiot.
Yeah, so this is like a weird little chess game where
Can you
Frank
keep up?
took the 3 extra damage there, but he gave an insanely good trade. Well, that was a great draw for Frank.
Yes.
I mean, if you could draw a barrage every turn from this point out, you're probably pretty happy. The other great thing about this Vader deck is you really don't ever need to go to 7 resources, and we see that he actually put down the Clone Combat Squadron, which not completely surprised by. So I guess with that attack, we're just gonna see everyone kind of cleared out here.
Yeah, that's the easy trade there with the TIE Fighter, and he's going to prevent getting rid of Victor Leader. He prevents Vader's text from firing this round.
Yeah. So Frank, Frank has to fire off this No Good to Me Dead here to not fall too far behind, but he has no board now. He's just got a 2/2, and he's not making any other token this turn. He put down his 4/4 bomb, or his 4-cost bomb, and he doesn't have anything to barrage with, and he doesn't have a ship to put Vader on. And you really don't want to put Vader to the ground in this matchup because he just gets eaten by Han. Either Big Han, obviously, is a huge problem for Vader, but then also just Han with a blaster is a great trade into Vader.
I haven't played a lot of Vader, but I have played a lot of Wedge. And I've found that there are very specific lines in matchups where you find yourself, rather than deploying as a pilot, deploying to the ground. We saw Frank do that yesterday, again in round 9, in the matchup he was in. Against Han here, you're basically saying, you obviously you want the value in space, but the ground arena available to you, but probably against Han, a losing proposition.
Yeah, without a doubt. Han actually thrives on the ground. One of Han's biggest strengths is just playing to space the early game and then pivoting to ground. So Jay tried to slow roll his actions. Frank took that Vader action, so you can still exhaust your leader for no effect a lot of the time, and Vader is one of those leaders that can do it. Jay does a good job of playing his 6 resources. He plays a hauler. He plays the blaster. but he's not going to get to 7 resources, and that's the exact amount of resources that a Han deck wants. So depending on what's in Jay's hand, this could end up being a rough turn for him. But if he's got the big Millennium Falcon, I think he's just fine.
Yeah, he doesn't untap.
Yeah, you're right.
There's still no way for Frank to attack with a piloted Vader this turn.
No, he's drawn into a fighter, but it's not a particularly good one.
No, but it is a 1 cost, right? Is that the 1 cost?
It's a cheap. It's the first order TIE fighter.
So he is going to be able to play the first order. Jay's going to want to hold back a ship to kill it, so he can't put Vader out and then barrage off the Vader. But
right.
That is the perfect hand for Frank to be able to pull off this barrage for 7. Actually, be 8, so it would clear Han and
the problem Frank's going to run into is he doesn't have enough actions. I think he's passing now. He doesn't have a lot of actions to take before that.
7?
Yep.
Yeah, well,
that's 4.
Yeah, Jay needs to not get greedy on the damage here. He needs to hold this Falcon back.
Now, Frank can also, you can use Vader's game text for no effect. He could just tap and exhaust him as an action.
Yeah, he did
for
that last turn, actually.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah.
Okay. So he's going to play the TIE fighter, assuming that
so
not going to want to trade there.
Put Chewbacca.
Okay.
Should hit for 6.
So now it's a 7 attack. It will kill Vader if he flips.
It will indeed.
But it'll also die back. Oh, so he does go ground here.
Going ground. I think he knows he's really got to get this barrage off, and so he's going to get. It's a slightly less big barrage, but it certainly isn't a bad barrage.
No, not at all. And it's going to kill Chewbacca, and then he can use the Vader to trade into Han if he wants. But that still leaves him with a lot of damage to go.
Stream, we're backing up. He's letting me back up. I should have just done this and let you see what you're going to do with that.
Okay, so now he's going to exhaust Vader for no effect.
So we have the gentlemanly take back
yes.
in day 2.
As soon as I flipped away, I didn't.
Look at that gentlemanly handshake.
I know, right? Look at that.
You'll love to see it.
So 14.
Okay, so Jeremiah's going to go face here with the Falcon. Okay, so that now gives Frank the opportunity
I haven't had enough coffee this morning.
to Vader out into space if he wants,
So
which
14 to 7.
he would. I wouldn't his shoes because now, yeah, exactly.
In this match.
Now he can have a larger barrage. He can barrage for 9.
Oh, confiscate Vader.
Oh,
And his one card is confiscate, so he baited it out.
Oh, he baited him into it.
And now we see why the gentlemanly take back.
Frank's like, yeah, we're done here.
Yeah, but they, Northside or Geo, they did have information. Jay attacked, so information changed.
That was so bad on my part.
Yeah, the gentlemanly. I love it. Like, yes, I'm a perfect gentleman. Take your playback. And yep, I've got the answer right here. So, I mean, and that we couldn't see what Jay was cooking up because we didn't see his hand on camera. But yeah, I mean that's why whenever I do these casts, I just let people cook. I just try and see what they're up to. And hope it works out. So that was a great game 1.
Was. All right, guys, give us about 60 seconds. I got a quick ad to push, and we'll be right back.
Maybe he'll flip the space.
What's up, everyone? Raptor here with a quick reminder about upcoming Star Wars Unlimited tournament coverage right here on the channel. The first Saturday in June, that's Saturday, June 7th, we'll be providing live coverage of the Planetary Qualifier at Dragon's Lair here in Houston, Texas. We're targeting an 11 a.m. or 1600 UTC start that day. A link to the YouTube event can be found in the video description or by following the link in the QR code on your screen right now. 1 week later, on Saturday, June 14th, we'll be up in Austin, Texas with live coverage of the Planetary Qualifier at the Dragon's Lair location up there. That will also be an 11 a.m. or 1600 UTC start. If you're watching on YouTube, again, the link to the scheduled stream can be found in the video description or by following the QR code you're looking at on your screen at this exact moment. With the Galactic Championships inching ever closer, I hope you will join us for more live coverage of competitive Star Wars Unlimited events.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, as we sit here for Game 2 prep. Both gentlemen taking a look at their sideboard. Again, just as a reminder, we do not show sideboards on stream before the top cut because that's not information the player should have, and we don't want somebody to accidentally find out something that they shouldn't. So we don't look. I mean, I would say I don't look at that info in advance. Actually, you don't have back-end access today for the Melee stuff. We had that for our casters yesterday because they were remote.
Yeah, that's all good. I was just going to call up the Melee to have like the other matches to talk about.
Oh, absolutely.
That are going on in day one, so
Absolutely.
I'm going to get Melee up. But one thing that I talked to Frank about right before this match was tie daggers. Now, wait, am I not supposed to talk about their lists at all?
You're not supposed to talk about their lists.
Okay.
That's correct.
I talked to Frank about hypothetical tie daggers being somewhere in the list.
We did not see those out of him yesterday. We did see them out of other Vader players.
Yeah.
So it's a card you expect to probably run into there somewhere.
So I ran Vader this weekend, and one of the reasons why I felt very confident moving to Vader from Han Green was because I felt tie daggers really fixed all the matchups where people were ambushing me.
Yes.
And playing the fast Falcon or hitting me with Falcons quickly.
Right.
Because I could just play the 2-2, damage them out, and have a big ship back on the board. Or
Right.
a ship that
A
triggers
ship.
Vader on the board, not
Right.
a big ship. I felt really comfortable into the meta if I was going to be playing against all these decks that ambushed me and killed my ships early. I didn't get ambushed a single time yesterday. I didn't play a single Han. So all of the things that I prepared for didn't come to fruition in my matchup, but I did talk to Frank about how in the Han Green and Sabine matchups, I really love Dagger. And I would bet that in games 2 and 3, we might see a Dagger.
You think so, huh? You think so?
If that's
Okay.
as little as I can say,
So,
that is
well,
as little
I'll be
as I
honest.
can
As
say.
long as you don't talk about, you don't say things like, "Oh, I know he's got it in there." But having conversations with people, I was talking to Frank, and we said this.
Yeah, well, I try and be
Nothing wrong with that at all.
But I'm trying to be Tony Romo, you know?
Exactly.
I went and talked to all the players
Exactly
about their
right.
matchups, and look at this. The very matchup I talked to both of these guys about before the round, they get
Exactly.
paired, and now
See?
we're watching them.
See, exactly.
All right, I'm still trying
Now,
to get
see,
the other
Frank.
matchups
Frank
up.
is being camera friendly over here. You and I can see the view where he's clearly showing us what he's doing with his sideboard. He does this for the camera.
Oh, what a guy.
Yeah, he does this for the camera.
Is he bringing in the daggers? Yeah. there they are.
It looks like we're definitely. I'm not sure what's going in and what's going out, but they're
It looks
definitely
like
in that
he's
pile.
putting in all those cards, yeah.
Yes, it looks like that's what's going in.
Bazines are great for stripping a bomb out of a 7-drop card out of Han's hand. The daggers, as I said, are good. And then basically the way I structured my sideboard was I have 3 Lurking TIE Phantoms in the main. Any matchup against space where I was cutting them, I put in 2 Jump Masters and a tie dagger, a 3rd tie dagger. And that was just to make basically knowing that the Phantoms weren't going to live against anything and like putting in things that would otherwise live or help me.
Yeah.
And then the other tech that you'll see from Frank there that he laid out for us, thankfully, were swoop downs. And
Yes.
he's using those swoop downs to have another answer to the Han flip.
Right.
One of the things I talked to Jay about in preparation for this event is just that people are not ready for the Han flip. And when they're not ready for the Han flip, they almost always lose.
Right.
If you we saw Frank stop it, but didn't have a board to kind of back up.
To do anything with it was just a stall, basically.
Right. It was just a stall. He had no board. He had like nothing on board to barrage with or whatever. But with swoop down, it kind of lets you focus on building that board and not having to hold the 2 resource no good to me dead up. And then if he can get a hauler, or he can put that Victor leader on Victor 2 rather on something with 3 attack, he can swoop down and kill. So he needs something with 4 in space so he can swoop down for 6.
Right.
And another thing they have. This is. In the main deck, I don't think we saw it last game, but maybe you saw on stream yesterday, but they're playing P38.
Yes, we did see Frank playing P38
Okay.
yesterday,
So
which is
that
also a
also
nice
swoop-
compliment with the dagger.
Right.
Or the swoop down.
and
Oh,
swoop
because
down.
yeah,
because
good
that
point.
will do the extra damage to kill Han.
Yes, it
but
will.
yeah, also really works well with dagger.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Swoop
I
down,
like the P38.
Swoop down adds 1 or 2 when you attack the ground unit.
It adds 2.
It adds 2.
So
So
the
yeah, you
3
can just
plus
trade it.
2
3 plus 2
the
because
ping
he's
1.
gonna.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. That's a great trade.
All right, I finally have the matches up.
Yeah.
So you
Talking and
today. I think you
searching.
go
Oh, here I'm cheating.
that's all right.
I
got
put this. I have this on your screen over here as well.
it. Okay, cool.
You don't wanna
Well,
make
we walk around with a personal computer. And we're good. I just want to kind of check out what other people, who else got paired against each other.
Getting paired up helps your tiebreakers.
I'm 16-5 to.
Oh, that
and
won't
that's
matter.
it.
It's just the match win. It's just the opponent
Yeah.
win percentage, unfortunately. I wish they used game. I don't know why they didn't use game. I don't know why they don't use game.
Oh, Maddie's playing Vika.
Yeah.
How's Maddie versus Vika? Someone in the chat, let me know how that's going. Someone who's got multi-Twitch up.
Are
let
they
me know.
playing on? They put on camera over there.
Yeah, they're playing on camera.
After
Looks like they're on loop stream, if I'm guessing
Hey,
correctly.
thanks, Northside or Geo. That's what my goal today was to just be
get nervous.
Be Romo.
There's-
Be the Romo.
Let me tell you something. When I watched, you worked at least 1 or 2 rounds of Richmond, the sector qualifier in Loopy Stream a few weeks ago, and I absolutely adored the commentary, this kind of commentary, and I was like, I would love to have that. And that's why afterwards I was like, hey, by the way, if you get bored in Minneapolis,
That's
reach
why
out.
you
Let's do it.
hypnotized me to play Vader.
No, I did no such
run
thing.
into tough matchups all
I
day.
did no such thing. I was
No.
telling chat yesterday that when I ran into you at the hang on Friday night, I was kind of like, I told you to your face, I was like, man, I'm kind of hoping you scrub out.
Yeah, I love the honesty. I love telling this story, and all my Destiny fans, Destiny players, not fans, but like Destiny homies from the old days.
Oh, yeah.
Know that like when my erstwhile teammate Reflex won the North American Championship, I got eliminated in top 8, and Zach from Team Covenant,
Yes,
he comes over, he
Zach
puts
Bunn.
his hand on my shoulder, Zach Bunn. He goes, "Hey, sorry about the loss, but I need you to come on stream right now." I didn't even put my deck away. He's like, "The community needs you."
The
And,
community needs you.
You know, like
That's a very Zach move.
yeah. The toughest matchups yesterday, well, I'll tell you the toughest matchup on Limited Power was Kylo Droid Manufacturer.
I was telling somebody about that at breakfast. He was
I
like, you played
24
what?
HP, okay. But he played a Dooku on 3, all 3 games. We can
Ugh.
talk about that later. Let's see what Frank's got. in his hand.
Indeed.
He's got a hauler there. He's got 2 Eager Fighter Escorts.
Those are going to be big. He's
Yeah,
definitely
they're
keeping
just
both of those.
Falcon Assassinators.
They're just Falcon Assassinators, and he's
Yeah.
going to keep them both.
I am keeping.
Yeah, there won't be any Sunday KTOD podcast. This is the podcast. I'm just going to cut the audio and release it as the
Join
podcast.
the Bot the Network public Discord.
Don't join on
Frank,
my-
Frank pushing
He's
his
not wrong.
his
But I'm
Discord.
in that Discord. It's
Love
up
it.
to y'all. No,
Just
we're-
lost
I'm
game
playing
1
Tarkin
against Tarkin.
I'm
Okay,
looking for
thanks,
names.
Jake.
Like,
Totally.
we all play random.
I was hearing about this Tarkin yellow deck, but I have not seen it, or obviously I've not gone to look at the list.
Well,
But I keep thinking, how is that still viable?
Well, it's Lurking TIE Phantom being really well placed right now.
Yeah.
And one of the things that like Vader does really well is like even if you clear the board, it can rebuild really quickly.
Right.
When Tarkin has a Lurking TIE
My
Phantom,
wife has a
That's
it gets
that's
completely
terrifying.
out of hand. Like you don't even necessarily want to play the Lurking TIE Phantom until like the 3rd or 4th turn of the game.
Right.
You clear the lane for space,
Yeah.
and then all of a sudden you put a token on it, you flip Tarkin, put another token on it, and
Yeah.
you're attacking for 6. The problem right now is the Lurking TIE Phantom is only good
Make a
into
token with Vader.
half the meta, and the other half is really well placed against Lurking TIE Phantom
Right.
because of things like Fast Falcon, because of things like Blue Leader. All right, so we're actually going to see Jay's hand here. We get a Chewbacca, Akira, and a Confiscate.
Chewbacca is nasty. How much health?
I'm
does
not
Chewbacca
sure what Frank will take here.
Alright,
The
we'll
Confiscate is so low power, but Chewbacca.
He's going for Chewie.
Yeah, he goes for Chewie here.
Yep.
Did Jay? There he is. Drawing a card.
We're playing
Wait,
on the wrong side.
did Jay draw the card for Bazine?
Okay, sorry.
Just-
I missed it.
I started.
I was busy looking at the stream deck.
Your fault. You write down what I just saw that you still have in your hand. You had Confiscate,
1 second.
You had. I got rid of Chewbacca. You had Akira.
Kira. Yeah.
Can you mute me?
I can mute us both for
Okay.
a moment. It's this button here.
Exactly.
Oh, I got a resource. Go this way.
Bobby stepped away for a minute, so I'll just call solo for a spell while he takes care of something.
Right. When people bazine me or I bazine
Dude.
someone, it's always
Should be
on
quick.
the top deck the card that they.
That's
got under your
exactly
hand.
what happened to me yesterday. Is I resourced, he discarded my Ready Falcon, I drew a Ready Falcon. I was like,
Bobby's going over to make sure
cards.
Yeah.
he drew the card for
What do you do
Bazine.
against that?
Right.
Okay.
I'm gonna hit your base for 3.
Coming in for a 3-hit.
And hit your base for 1.
I keep wanting to reach for my own tokens. I should just put them away. Out of sight, out of mind, right?
Okay, we're good to go.
Yeah, we're good.
Me 1, you 3. No, backward.
All right,
Backwards
so
again.
Jay, I actually just asked to see Jay's hand straight up.
Mm-hmm.
He has a hauler and a resupply with the Kira and the Confiscate.
Can you afford to the early resupply in this matchup because Vader builds the board so fast? Can you afford to take the time to play that?
Yeah, you can.
Okay.
It's like the resupply is the best play that this deck can make.
Looks like it's what he just did.
Yeah.
5, 27.
Like I said earlier, what Han really wants to do is just kind of control space and then pivot ground and play its bombs on the ground. Obviously, Holler a little bit of a problem here against a Phoenix Squadron A-Wing. You know, Jay isn't going to be able to easily control that damage. The swoop down is set up. If Frank has that swoop down, he can kill the Han. And not die back. But the Vader engine isn't on, so we'll just have to see if Frank's deck is able to play the long game against a deck with really, really potent 7-drops.
We are going to resource Han.
But yeah, this is why the early resupply works, because when you can
Yeah.
flip Han
Han's
at
gonna
6
come out so
resources
early.
and get to 7 resources when your opponent is
It's
at
on 4. That's
it's
massive.
just backbreaking.
Yeah, that's massive.
All right, so the swoop down isn't coming. We do see a no good to me dead here, though.
It is. Yep.
Okay.
Now, does Jay have something to do with the 6 resources? I think if he doesn't have a big Falcon here, he should have fired off the Kira. He would have been able to stop that no good to me dead. He would have gotten to 7.
I'll pay 3 for a Falcon.
All right, is Jay going to take the trade here to just have 2 haulers? I will say 1 hauler
Card in hand.
floating between the 2 players can be a little bit of a liability, but when you have 2 haulers out,
That's brutal.
it becomes really hard for your opponent to not waste their entire space lane trying to kill the hauler.
Frank looks like maybe he's got a pilot. No.
He has a Mining Guild tie,
Oh,
a
he's- and a
Geonosis patrol
Geonosian.
fighter, and I imagine he kept one of those Eager Escort fighters. But
He can
we'll see.
exploit out the Geonosian. Is that the plan here to get to pull the hauler off the board? Nope. We're going to pull Sabine and the token.
It's a bounce, I think.
Yeah.
He's bouncing,
Yeah, it
he's
just
trying to
bounces
steal
it. Doesn't steal it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right, and the Mining Guild tie comes out. This Mining Guild tie is a nice little way to go into these grindy matchups. You
Such a great
rarely
card.
spend all of your resources in
Yeah.
this deck, so you can very easily draw that 2 extra.
I was talking with Chad about this yesterday, how much I really enjoyed playing this card back in set 1 when it was, for me, it was a staple in one of my old Boba decks, right? So I could refill my hand
Yeah.
along the way as Boba would stand up resources. I could attack in and draw
Exactly.
some cards.
Yeah, a nice little engine there in a
6 resources.
game that, like, yeah, it's great because we draw 2 cards a turn, but the added card draw in this game is just crazy. We've seen it in Pershing, we've seen it in R2D2 3PO combo.
Mhm.
Um,
So if you
drawing
resource,
cards
you
is
should
broken.
have
Well, it's interesting, right? Because there are certain cards like 3PO and R2 that have made splashes that are really good, and then leaders like Cassian, which provide card draw that like nobody really plays.
The Cassian engine is a little slow to set up, unfortunately. I know Danny, the lead designer of the game, he really likes Cassian.
Cassian yellow.
Yeah, Cassian Yellow. And I played against him, and like I do see where it's good, but man, like I don't see how it would ever beat like a Sabine or a Kylo or anything that like really rushes you down. All right, so there's a hauler battle going on right now.
And played this hall.
Oh, and Jay has the tech, the anti-hauler tech. So for all of the work that we talked about in the Vader deck, being able to get its haulers back once their opponent steals them,
Sorry, chat.
salvage is just
Sorry, chat.
absolutely busted as being able to just, when your opponent thinks they're about to get a 4-5, you just got your own 4-5 back.
Everything. Salvaging your hauler. It's
Sa-
hot.
Frank, Frank not happy
I mean,
to
Frank,
see that salvage.
he could also be doing the same thing in his deck, but there's also not a lot of stuff worth salvaging out of Frank's
right.
in Frank's deck.
Right, because it's all weenies. But when
Yep.
you get to salvage is absolutely insane in these grindy matchups when you can salvage your own home 1 back, but then also salvage for a fast Falcon to finish last 3 damage is really great. So Jay way ahead out of that hauler battle because he got both. We talked about this, like when there's 2 out there and you can end up with both, it becomes really, really a problem.
9.
Now Frank does take out
Self-play
that
hauler.
excuse me, hauler.
Okay,
Yours
let's-
is this one.
Let's just do this so that
That's
the one with
fine
my
with me.
sleeves on my side, the one with your sleeves on
Fine
your
with
side. I don't think it
There we go. So all the back and forth trading, and everybody ends almost exactly where they started with a hauler on their side of the
Yeah.
board.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It becomes a little
just,
silly.
Like spinning your wheels. Yeah.
All right,
So
hot
what-
on the board. This is the Vader flip turn.
Yeah. So what's going to happen here? I got to imagine that Jay is going to take out the Victor leader with the hauler. Jay should still be holding that confiscate.
2 cards
So
in hand.
I do.
Did you resource?
I did.
Frank's counting cards. Jay's at 7.
Yeah, he's at 7. Okay, I was
Yep.
double checking.
Yeah,
He
he
didn't
said there's no way Han doesn't go to 7.
I'm seeing
Yeah.
the future.
Your future includes
I
confiscate,
already
Frank.
resourced it.
This is this is a great situation for Jay to be in. Frank knows he has confiscate, so he can't go to space. If he goes to ground, he's open to Han or a Ewing into Han.
Mm-hmm.
So I think if I were Jay, I'd be leading with hauler into Victor leader, because otherwise
Did I flip that turn?
Frank's
And you
hauler
no
will
good
kill the
to dead-
hauler.
To me deaded?
You flipped 2 turns ago,
Okay.
and a no good. So your
Yeah,
your
so I
Han is
have to
back.
pay.
But the haulers on either side are going to make this really complicated damage-wise.
This turn has the potential to be quite a bit of a mess for us to track as we sit here and watch.
Yeah, I actually think that Jay probably should have bounced the Falcon. I think he forgot to pay.
No, he
And-
just did.
No, but like originally he
Oh.
left it down there because he knew he was at 7.
You have
Right.
to do it this way because there are effects I have that bounce haulers,
Okay.
and we need to know who owned the hauler.
That is true.
I apologize.
Okay.
So they're
Okay.
going back to
They're going back to the other way around. Okay.
So now
I just
Han
remembered that.
actually isn't
I
at
could
7
possibly top
resources
deck something.
because he had to pay for that Falcon. But if he bounced the Falcon here, 1, it wouldn't die to the hauler. So like, I really think he's thinking he should have bounced the hauler.
Something else for you to think about. Dun, dun, dun.
You mean just
I mean,
you
I
mean
bounced the Falcon.
bounce the
Yeah,
Falcon.
sorry,
Just
bounce the
let it
Falcon.
come back to his hand.
Yeah, because he really needs that 7th resource. He can't do everything in the amount of actions
Well,
he needs to.
let me ask the question a different way. Presuming that he's held on to the confiscate, what's the other 7 drop that he would be like holding on to at this stage of the game?
Han to kill Vader on the ground.
Okay, big boy Han. Yeah, I'm
But
ambushing
now,
Han.
because Jay has to spend that resource, now Frank can flip that Vader to the ground with impunity.
How long does he have to think about
I mean, he could have a blaster in the row too. That would also clear him out.
It would.
I was about to poke him. So
All right. Gonna pay 2 and Han on the Falcon.
Han pilot first strike.
The hauler.
Gonna wipe out his own hauler there.
That doesn't kill the hauler
Uh,
because of Victor leader.
oh, that is actually correct. Let me let the judges know. Hold on a moment.
Wow, that's crazy good.
Right? It's only 5 attack.
hold on a second.
Yeah.
Yes.
How big was that? 5? Oh yeah, this is a 4, 5, 6.
Ah,
Oh,
take your
man.
Thank
4
you.
back, baby.
Oh, you're right. You're right.
Thank you,
That
Judge.
was brutal.
Oh, thanks you, Raptor.
Thanks, Bobby.
Thank-
Thanks, Uncle Bobby. All right.
Frank owes you a drink.
Yeah. Well, so that I think obviously that's a mistake out of Jay. I think he's a little shook from having that
Okay.
7th resource
Well, that
down.
absolutely changes my play line then.
This is going to be hard to recover from for Jay. I don't know that he can't, but that hauler's actually ready.
Wow, that really
I
changes
expect. Yeah, Frank's saying it
Wow,
really
that changes
changed my play line when.
because now
yeah.
I can trade these haulers.
Yep.
Okay.
Frank's just doing the commentating
Sorry
for
about
us.
that.
That's what I love about Frank. When I've played against Frank, and he just talks the whole time, and he's
Yes.
like, I don't think you should do that, Mike. I'm like, I don't think I should listen to you.
Oh, here, hang on.
Okay. It's on me.
Can you keep your hand above the table?
Yes.
Thanks.
Sorry.
So how do you play that one confiscate?
All right,
Bobby's just the talent. I'm just going to produce today and let him talk.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right.
So we did trade haulers there.
Yep.
It's a top card.
Okay, Han's going to come into base.
So now with 4 resources, maybe we'll see that Kira if it's still around.
I will
Maybe he's going to smuggle out a tech.
bring my hauler back.
You
Will I
can't bring
my
your hauler back.
You
You
have how
gotta
many
bring
cards left in hand?
One.
Other hauler back.
One. And how much life is left on that Falcon?
1. Hold on. I have 5 out of 7, so 2.
He's going to trade the token in to get rid of the Falcon with the Han.
Yeah,
Clear the space
that
lanes.
miscount on the damage from Victor Leader was a huge blowout. I
Well-
think what ends up, like, if Jay can't claw back, that's going to be what.
You mentioned it earlier. Victor Leader just changes the math, and it becomes very squirrely to keep all of it straight in your head. Even Frank's playing the deck, and even he forgot.
Yep, no doubt.
I've gotten to where when I have effects like that on the board, I try to use tokens to remind myself, even if it was repetitive, right?
Can you tell the judges he can't play his own hauler from his own graveyard? He has to play the opposing hauler from the opposing graveyard or discard pile.
If you kill it, it still saves me damage. I'll bring mine back.
Smart. I will.
What is
Ambush.
All right.
I think in the end, I don't think it's going to matter.
I don't think it matters
a whole lot.
Because Frank said, like, I can bounce effects. Like, he
Yeah.
bounces the hauler, it goes back to his own hand. Like,
Yeah.
Jay could also waylay a hauler. So it is important to keep the game state straight.
All right.
Okay, this is starting to get bizarro now.
I'll pass.
Can he have both of them? I didn't think he could play his own.
Yeah, as long as it comes from the opponent's play, he can.
Okay.
But they really need to stop. I don't know.
13 to 4.
I really think the game state might be broken.
Well, I've notified the judge chat. There's not much else I can do until they. Okay, there you go. He's checking it out now. They're trying to fix it.
It's hard to talk about a game
Both died
that's this broken.
Both
No.
haulers died this turn.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I'm going to let them figure it out. Do you want to wander over?
Yeah.
Okay.
Remember the mistake of hitting it, left it 1 life, so I hit. And then he
While they settle this out, guys, I have been asked frequently by the folks at SCG when we do these events, we're gonna pull back and mute the table and let them talk for a minute. In fact, why don't we just come all the way back to here? I've been specifically asked by SCG that while judge calls are happening, to let that happen on the table and not worry about not film everything. They're keenly aware that sometimes these things get out of hand. So that's why we're back here for a minute. So we'll let them solve this. It is a bit of a mess in the sense of the way that card works. It's awkward, to put it lightly. And this is my first time ever seeing 2 of them on the board at the same time. Watching them bounce around is weird, to put it lightly. It's a good thing they both have different colored sleeves. If they didn't, this would be kind of a bit of a mess. Okay. All right, so let's get back to this,
Apparently
I suppose.
they got it straightened out.
Okay, good. We'll assume they have it correct.
Got it.
We'll unmute the players again,
13
and then we'll turn the lights off. Okay,
I made a dude.
They're good.
seems like it.
You took initiative.
Yeah.
Okay. So I'm going to.
Now, Frank still has unspent resources here, and Jeremiah is done for the turn.
No, they're right. They had it right. I
Okay.
had it wrong.
Oh, you had it wrong.
Yeah. Apparently you can play it from your own discard if your opponent owned it first.
Boy, that
And I
gets
guess that's what
weird.
happened.
That gets weird.
The ground. You have enough escape. Next turn.
Yeah, it's all good. I think I was just kind of thrown off from the damage happening, but I'm gonna stop meddling. 'Cause when I play on stream and people meddle, I don't like it. So I'm gonna learn my lesson.
I did miss a tech coming onto the board here for Han.
Yeah, so he did that with those 4 resources at the end of the turn.
Okay.
I saw Frank had a Genos Patrol Fighter, so I expect him to bounce it.
Okay.
Sacking the exploit 1 to do
Okay.
it, and bouncing tech to your
Yeah.
Okay.
hand.
Okay, he's going to bounce tech for Geonosis.
And I will pass.
All right.
Well, all right, I'm not going to get baited by the chat.
Now, this is important. That's a very, very, very good lesson that I have had to struggle with myself these last few
Now
days.
you're just playing mental games with me.
I had some moments in Denver where I thought I was going to have to mute my own chat. I was just
Yeah.
like, really? What are you guys on?
Just say, the judges weren't on top of the damage from the Victor
No, I
Leader,
got
so
it.
that's kind of where my head was at.
Yep.
Did
Someone
you
give me a
resource?
Maddie
I
update.
did. I did, and I discarded one from Han.
Okay.
It was a resupply.
All right. So can Jay battle back from this board? Multiple haulers. The one thing Jay has going for him here is he only has 4 damage on his base.
Yeah, there has not been a tremendous amount of damage get pushed through to his base. There's just been all of this space trading. We are going to push 7 to base here, I'm presuming.
Yeah, one thing that Jay's really missing here are just 7 drop bombs. Like, he just hasn't hit a
So I'll go to 13 to
U-Wing.
15.
He hasn't hit a Han. He hasn't hit an Emphas.
He does have one card in hand. Could be relevant.
Yeah, so he's facing down,
Seven?
geez,
Yeah,
16
uh,
power in
what were you at?
space
So
and 5 on the ground.
13, I did 6, so 19.
19. Yep.
Yep.
He did
Oh, I didn't
6. Why would he have done
I
6?
wrote
Isn't
down right on my notepad.
isn't surprise strike +3?
All right. Let's trade these.
Yeah,
So why isn't it 7?
See what
I'm not
shenanigans
sure.
you've got. Show me your
I
tricks.
don't have any shenanigans.
Show me your tricks.
are you sure he only took 6?
Frank only took 6 on his base, and Jeremiah literally said, "I dealt 6."
Oh,
I'm not sure why he thinks he only dealt 6.
Well, I'm not getting involved. The judge.
No, I'm going to at this point, if both players are happy, I'm staying out of it.
Perfect. I'm gonna Falcon into the victory.
Yeah, definitely Lee Trevino vibes. It's all gamesmanship. And in Atlanta, Frank literally said, "I don't think you should make that attack. I think you should attack base."
Is Frank literally sitting across from you trying to tell you how to play your own deck?
Yeah. He's great though. He's fun. It's
Oh, he's such a great guy.
It's so fun. Yeah. I'll say this: like Frank always makes everything fun and friendly.
100%.
Even back then, when he's like, "Love you, Mike," and I walked out, I was like, "All right, guys, whatever. I'm wrong."
All right, 8 to base from the Haulers.
Or from 4 to 12.
I'm at 19.
That was a couple off there, apparently.
All right, Frank
Back to-
rebuilding his board here.
Back-to-back ties.
Yep. I don't know. Like, I think like if I'm Jay, I'm looking for Enfys to bounce my own hauler back to my hand. Yeah, Hybrid Theory, it is tough to ignore those sometimes, especially when you're friends with a guy. You know, you want to talk to him, you want to engage with him, but I think it's a strategy. Yeah, Gimura. I also think Jay is thrown off and still thrown off. I think that just changed the tenor of the game.
You know, it was interesting. We had Alex blended on camera yesterday against Michael Conroe from Team Secret. About midday, round 4 or something, maybe around 5. And Alex had a couple of moments where, you know, with the face cams, you can clearly see when people's faces tell part of the story,
Yeah.
which is fun. But there were a couple times, you know, I talked to him briefly after the match, and he was like, "Oh yeah, there were a couple times I was intentionally like I would draw the cards, and I would look, you know, exasperated, but I had just drawn like fire." Like,
yeah, he's really good at that.
and I was like, "Oh, look at you playing mind
talk
games."
about things. Oh, Jay's showing us the 10. What a guy.
Oh,
Right,
he
so
wins.
this is the 10 for the Ewing.
Currently
Yep.
have 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Take me 24. You're at 19.
I got some updates from the other match where we look at this. Ophir beat Chrono 2-0. Alex beat Rebel Resource 2-1 for my teammates.
Okay.
Looks like Todd is still playing. All right, so what's he going to go with here? I think he was looking for Enfys.
All right,
It's the
we're
only
gonna
thing that
do,
really comes down and affects the board.
We're going to do blue leader. We have to resolve each card as we play them.
Judge. I don't
That's
play-
actually a good question. I'm pretty confident that the answer to this is yes, but
Yeah.
we'll let the judge tell them this. I've had this question before about the way when you play things with Ewing, you know, when you play the card, do you resolve the win played? Does that win played interrupt the win, you know, resolving the Ewing? And I'm pretty confident that it does.
Yeah.
So either
But-
show and declare what he's
But I'll let the judge walk that through with them.
Declare, shuffle the rest of them, put them on the bottom, and
and then
you
play them out one by one.
exactly. Yeah, that's
Aha. Okay, so he's got to pick the 3 he's going to play, and then as he plays them, then the win played effects fire off.
Yeah, this is a
really
pretty
good.
mopey.
So he's just going to come in with Falcon and Blue Leader.
So
Yeah, I'm-
resolve the. Would you like to cut?
I
He
do
has 2
wanna cut.
resources left, so I
Michael
think what he-
Carlock, one of our teammates, tells me to always cut
Once-
these lucky Vaders and Ewings and.
he's probably going to take out one of the 2 ones and then
Always
move the
cut.
blue leader to the
So
ground,
this guy is going to ambush one of the TIE fighters.
It kills it.
because that's the only way to get any value
Yep.
out of this. But
Yeah,
he's
he-
still in a rough
Yep,
spot.
for sure. And this is a great play. That way he can hopefully push. I mean, Frank's low. Frank's down to 11 health, so he can hopefully push some damage there.
He is, but Jay is going to take 10 here at the very least. I mean, Frank hasn't spent a single resource yet.
Right.
So he's going to take 10 at the very least,
You
and
sure?
then
You
be
were,
cooked.
I thought you were 8.
I resourced.
Chat's asking where you can find the day 1 stream. I will tell you after this game. You won't like the answer possibly, but I will tell you.
That was really well played, Jay.
Oh, thank you.
Listen to Frank complimenting his opponent. That was a great play. How am I ever going to recover?
How am I going to ever recover from having all these haulers on the board?
Now, looking at the clock, time may be an issue here. These guys will get at least probably a 3 to 5 minute extension just because of the way the stream tables generally get a small time extension. But even if they can finish game 2, game 3 is going to be tough.
Yeah, I mean, definitely seems like a lot of time being spent not turning guys sideways.
I'll take the initiative.
Okay.
I think it's possible that even after that Han debacle with Jay, I think he possibly should have scooped.
5, 6.
Scooping for time in these situations is really important.
Yep. I mean, he's already up a game. He probably could have afforded it.
Makes sense.
And I will.
In fact, even
Okay.
let's just move on.
I
to
think
game
at
3,
this
Jay.
point he should probably scoop.
I hope not. That's what we're trying to achieve with this board state.
His board's empty. He's got plenty of resources, but he's top decking here
As if that wasn't enough.
against the Space Armada, quite literally.
Not resource. I put my hand down so I can look at my resources though, because I could smuggle out my big ships.
Even this is like wasting 2 minutes, you know.
Yeah.
Fatal's on the board.
Yeah.
I think this is a good lesson.
Yeah, that's it. We can go to the next.
There were some people in chat yesterday. Yeah, okay. They're going to scoop it up and go. All right.
Battle of the Haulers. Can I shuffle?
Talking to, watching yesterday, we had Rebel Resource, Ryan on. And some people in chat were flabbergasted at how quickly he plays. They went through, I think, 3 Sabine Yellow games. And I think the entire match took maybe 21 minutes.
Yeah,
he plays like his chair's on fire.
Yeah, I've played against him, and if you are going to stream his table, like, you definitely want to back
Have a backup. Yeah, I learned that the hard way.
Yeah.
But it was funny, and chat, people in chat were like, "What's the deal? Why is this a thing?" And I think a game like this is a good example, right? In the sense of a match like this is a good example. In the sense of, like, you want to come and you want to have a great time, but you want to finish the match. Finish the match. I'm not criticizing. I'm just saying that I feel like you're running a risk, right?
Get your 2 drop, but I got greedy, didn't I? I was greedy.
I don't think it's greedy. I think
It is greedy, but it's very normal. It's super rare you're not going to play a 3 drop on turn 1.
Yes.
Yeah, and it's way worse for me if you play a Falcon than if you play a Phoenix.
I agree.
I was
All right, we'll let these guys shuffle up and see what we can get in for game 3.
Yeah. Hopefully they start moving.
That was a fun
Stop.
game, dude. That was
Chat.
crazy.
Scooping to go to game 3 is a skill for sure. And then another thing that we talked about with some players yesterday that are playing Ray, Data Ball, is actually like conceding
And I got a game 3. How much time
instead
do we
of
have?
drawing.
Oh, we're going to get a draw. Oh, okay. We have that. Let's play fast, though.
Yeah.
Now Frank wants to play fast.
Now, with Ray Data Ball, scooping instead of drawing, so you don't face other decks that draw when you're playing.
Yeah.
Do you know, that was something that I hadn't considered yesterday, but one of my local players came and was playing Kira Datavault. He's been playing Kira for a very long time. Traditionally, he plays Kira ECL, but he switched to Datavault because he figured he would need the extra legs because that's where things are going. And we were talking about this. He ended up drawing, I think he said fairly early, round 3 or round 4. And because of the way the point value system works, now he found himself more commonly getting paired against other opponents who were drawing rounds.
And this is something I learned playing Magic way back in the day. It's like control matchup, control mirror. If you're going to draw, just one of you has to concede, or else you're going to be in the draw bracket.
You're going to be in the draw bracket. When it's the first time you use that term, but it's the first time it even occurred to me was yesterday that such a thing was real now because we have the ID rules. You get a point for a draw, but now in large events, a big field, you're just now more likely to get paired against other people who also have draws.
Start the turn.
Oh,
And
I'm sorry.
It's
I thought
okay.
you
It's okay. It's
claimed.
okay. No.
Oh, you said ready, and then
No. I was like, ready. I'm going to take the initiative.
should I
for the
be a
turn.
dick and call the judge?
No, Frank, just play.
Okay. So I'm not going to enforce this, but just for the record, he said, "Are you ready?"
Frank, what are you doing? He lost the game, so he's on the button. So he's ready to go. He's letting you know he's ready. You're good to go.
Did you like make a motion or anything? Or just say
He just tapped it.
I
Said I
just
take
said,
initiative.
I'm going to start with the initiative. Or I'm gonna,
No, you didn't
I'm
say
gonna-
start
I'm
with.
gonna-
He said, I take initiative.
I'm going to mute them and let them talk to the judge for a minute.
I don't want to hear this. You know what? I think I regret doing this.
Would you rather just hear them? Would you rather we just mute them all day? That way you don't have to.
No comment.
Goodness gracious.
All right, looks like Frank is not gonna.
Let's just leave them off for a spell, and Frank's gonna come in with double Ys in the high orbitals here. Republic Y wings, a little 1-3 out of the latest set. Han's gonna go straight for the hauler. The hauler shenanigans beginning early here, ladies and gentlemen.
Yeah, and I saw a surprise strike in Frank's hand, and so if Jay eats one of these Y wings, the surprise strike would take it back. So it looks like that is going to be Frank's plan. So this is the thing I was talking about, where hauler becomes a huge liability.
Ooh, double hauler.
Unless your opponent works really, really hard to kill it. And so I think Frank's plan was to use 3 cards, trade 3 cards into that hauler. Surprise strike, doing the final 4 to get the hauler. But now, with Jay playing a second hauler, he's just going to risk the hauler fight. And having used 3 cards to kill 1 hauler, you're going to make it that much harder to kill the next one.
He is going to use he's going to use one of the little eager escort guys to knock out one of them. And then play it.
Oh yeah, so then it's only 2 cards to get your hauler. So it's really kind of a 1-for-1.
Yeah, he's still sitting on the surprise strike. He hasn't played that one yet.
Yep, and he's got a barrage in hand, which is exactly what you want out of your hauler. I like where Frank's at right now. And Jay opting to just go face and try and race Frank. Is Frank going to go after the second hauler and try and take both? I think, given his hand, that's what I would do.
Okay, now they have the base health correct.
But honestly, that barrage is going to ride him a long way.
He's going to do 1 in here with the token. Han going to do Han things.
Yep, so Han's going to 5. I don't know what he really wants to do here. If Jay is sandbagging a resupply, I think that's like the best reason to go to 5.
Because then he could resupply.
Flip Han.
Ooh, that early, and then go straight to 7. Well, he could go straight to 7. It wouldn't do him much good because he probably can't use them all this round.
Well, he would end up with 4 more resources. Or
yeah.
3 more resources.
He'd end up with
4 more resources. We'd be able to play like a Poe, a Kira, a Tech Smuggle, a L3 Smuggle.
Yep, no, that's a good point. Frank going 1 to base.
All right, so he's just hard playing Chewbacca here. So what Jay's strategy might be here is playing around Barrage by having so much HP that Barrage doesn't clear the board.
Yeah.
But now Frank ends up with both haulers. And those are both Jay's haulers. So again, like, this is why I find playing hauler so precarious. I will say that, in talking to Frank, the BN guys were playing hauler with the intention of stealing their haulers back after their opponents spend resources and cards
to play them.
Get them.
To play them.
So Frank is
in the sense of they play it and then you bounce it.
Yeah.
Like Geonosis. Well, you can't. Right. Yeah, you can Geonosis it or waylay it or whatever.
Or recapture it, waylay it, whatever it is. But Frank is showing that he's very well versed in the hauler battle here.
Yeah.
Ending up with both of Jay's haulers. And Chewbacca ground is not where Jay wants to be. But he's already at 13 HP, so maybe he's just going to push here. Unfortunately for Jay, a barrage on a hauler is going to take out Han. This is really the matchup where you want to hold Big Falcon so you can ambush in and steal.
Frank certainly has a million good options here for that barrage in his hand, should he decide he needs it at whatever point. Twitch chat thinking that Jay should have avoided the haulers entirely.
All right, there's the Big Falcon.
Going to ambush in and knock one of them out. So remember, guys, the official timer at the bottom right is going to expire shortly, but that is not the timer the players on our table are working off of. There is a judge standing there working on maintaining all of that state, so don't sweat it. They'll be managed. So he's going to play Overwhelming Barrage on the clone. Let's figure this out. It's a 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, so he's got 9 damage to shell out here.
Yep. So eats the Han, doesn't get the flip. That's actually not terrible for Jay because Jay wants his Han to die and not get tapped because now Jay can still go to 7 resources next turn and play a 7 drop. I don't know that it's going to be enough to get him back in this game.
So we're at 17 on for Jay. Yep, I thought that's
no,
right.
Jake. Apparently, that's the thing that I got confused about earlier. Was that it still goes to Jay's discard pile, but Frank still can play it. Like you can still play the opposing hauler no matter what discard pile it's in if your opponent controlled it. But yeah, cards always go to their owner's discard. You should never have your opponent's card in your discard.
I want to make sure I understand this. So Jay plays a hauler. Frank murders it. It ends up in Jay's discard pile. Frank is then allowed to play it out of his discard pile. But then when it dies off of Frank's side of the board,
it goes to Jay's discard
pile. Frank could play it again even from there.
No, then Jay can play it out of his own, which is why I got confused.
Oh, that is a mess.
Yeah. That's why it got so messy.
That's a whacked out card.
Because if he played the hauler, all that would have happened there.
I think Jay just conceded.
Yeah, Jay conceded. That Jay is simply that Frank would have ended back up with it because Frank has total control space.
Yep. Goodness. All right, so I suppose, if anything, ladies and gentlemen, the lesson that I've learned watching this match is that hauler is one of the most irritating cards to keep track of in the entire game.
Yeah. And, I'm just going to refuse to do it from here on out, people.
Okay. All right. There we go.
I'm going to need an official hauler tracker.
I don't have time to build a counter today, but I'll work on that for next time.
We need a runner.
All right, guys. Listen, here's what's going to happen. The round is over. I'm guessing that there aren't too many matches. The beauty of today is we should have less downtime between matches. Only 2 matches unreported. So give us 5-ish minutes, and we'll probably be right back on our feet. Okay, guys? Give us a couple, and we'll see you in a moment.
All right.
Star Wars Unlimited is a trading card game of unlimited possibilities. Aspects decide the general direction your cards and deck will function. Let's focus on cunning. Use clever tricks to keep your opponents off balance with the cunning aspect. Get more use out of resources by taking down your enemies. Or collect even greater bounties by doing it with your own hands. Ambush your enemies with a surprise attack. Use a quick buck to get ahead of your opponent. Or gather additional resources for a bigger push. Attempt to make a final counterattack. Freeze enemy units in carbonite. Disrupt your opponent's plans before they happen. Make your own luck by outsmarting your opponent with the exact tools you need. At times, you need to be cunning to become the best in the galaxy.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls. It is day 2 of the Star Wars Unlimited Regional Qualifier here in Minneapolis. I'm here with
Bobby Sapphire. It's your boy.
Outstanding. This has been a lot of fun so far. I love the insight. You have such a different insight to the game. I do the play-by-play, but you're so far down into the weeds of why you make plays. I'm loving the commentary.
Well, when I watch, I'm trying to think like, all right, well, what would I be trying to do? Like, what am I looking out for?
Right.
One of the things that I try not to ever do is say like, I think that this is what should happen next, and
Yes.
you know, I just try and say like, all right, this is what I think that they should be looking at, and if they're not, let me figure out why that they did what they did.
Right. All right, guys. Well, listen, let's introduce you to our Round 11 matchup. We're going to be looking at a battle of the Tims. On the left-hand side of your screen, this is Tim from Wisconsin, coming home and from the home of Borderlandia. And on the right-hand side of your screen, this is going to be another Tim, but a Tim you might be a little more familiar with. This is Tim. This is one of the minds behind McClunky Gaming. You see there on his shirt. He is the owner of all that camera gear. He hauls around his wife Claire producing their stream just a few tables away. What are you grinning about
so
over here?
big. He's just so
He is a huge human. He is a big dude.
In like Titanic, really a like bastion of this community. Like
100%.
the first, if not one of the first people who were like traveling to all the Northeast PQs to stream them. Like big part of the streaming community.
Yes. He is. It's been super fun to get to know him, and he and Claire are awesome. I've had some wonderful conversations with Claire trying to pick their brains about the stuff that they're doing and how they do it, what they do. I'm loving her new overlay. She's such a talented graphical designer. I'm envious of the work that she does on their streams.
Amazing. All right, so I think this is Rando Mando, right?
I actually don't know. Is he? That
I
must
gotta
be.
imagine this is Rando Mando. So well known for being a Palp Yellow player, content creator who makes exclusively Palp Yellow content.
Outstanding.
And then Titanic is on Han Green. Very same list that Jay was just playing. Tim and the McClunky guys work with Alex and my team, and as well as Jay, all to kind of like work on this Han Green, and Sonny from Team Secret. We're all kind of work together on Han Green behind the scenes. Like that's a community of teams that we're not really secretive. We kind of just collaborate and work together on things. Rando Mando, Han, Palp Yellow player, playing Poggle, and Tim doing his thing, coming out with the Falcon.
So here's a question.
Yeah.
Do you want the player audio back? You want to leave it off?
I personally like it off.
Okay. I'm happy to leave it off if you would rather.
But the thing is, I start to listen to them, and then I'm not speaking. Do you want me to speak more? I'll say this. If you want me to shut up, you should put it back on.
I'll be honest.
I'll just listen.
I personally am enjoying the commentary. I don't get to interject much, but I'm okay with that because I'm enjoying it. So I was telling somebody yesterday I would really love it if I had the opportunities to just kind of sit back and produce and let other people commentate.
Gotcha.
I don't want to do that to you today. I want to contribute, but
I
am enjoying it so far.
I'll fire it off. So these guys both resupplied, it looks like. Rando Mando with the foil P38. That looks hyperfoil.
That's a hyperfoil. That's pretty.
Looks great. And he's building his little engine with Poggle, and what that does is allows Palpatine to use his leader effect to sacrifice basically meaningless units to deal damage and draw cards, get to his bombs. Tim with the flashy promo
Fancy Han.
foil Han is going to go on the ship, and I think he's going to go base.
I think I would
don't
go
see any value in.
I think
killing
I
this
would go
P38.
base. Yeah.
Rando Mando already has plenty of stuff to sacrifice, so if he's going to go for it.
It's gonna
He's going to try and
clear the lane.
One of the great strategies for Han against Palpatine rather is to clear the board so they can't stop drawing. So they can stop drawing cards. But because of the Poggle engine right here, he's not stopping that anytime soon. One thing that Han does do is it allows Tim to not take any damage back on that Falcon because of Han Pilot's on attack ability, or when played ability, I guess, auto attack and not take damage back. So that's 3 damage that the Falcon would otherwise have. Now sitting on only 2, it's a long way from dying. Oh, he's flipping Han to space, people. He's not Leia. He can't float around in space. All right, and for the 4th time today, we've seen Han get tapped on deploy.
Oh, was that a no good to me dead?
That was a no good to me dead.
Ooh. Sorry, I'm trying to get the mic levels correct.
Do your thing.
They are still telling me I am a little higher than you, so I'm working on that.
I will try and use my teacher voice.
You're fine. I'm trying to turn mine down because I am inherently louder.
So a great play that Tim makes, it often happens when you lose your Han attack to a no good to me dead, is just use those 3 resources to put the blaster on there, and when he untaps the following turn, he's a 6/6. These guys are going to 6 resources, so Tim will not be able to play a 7-drop. I mentioned this last round with Jay, but one of the ideal things that you would like to try and do when you get bricked on your Han attack is to have the Big Falcon as your 1 6-drop play. You might remember from the erstwhile days of Han Yellow, these guys would play Zori Bliss to come out of the row for 5 and be like an otherwise like really tough unit to kill. The 4/7 body on Zori Bliss, really undervalued.
One of those, well, he's thinking about it.
Yeah, Rando Mando, he needs to get to the Palp flip, right?
Okay.
Like
He's not going to use Palpatine. He's just going to shove the battle droid out there.
Yeah, that's his move. He wants to move into the late game. He wants to play bombs. I don't know what's in his deck, but I got to imagine it's like Cad Banes. It's Devastators. Let's see. He's got Barrage, he's got Syndicate Lackeys, and he's got Eager Escort Fighter. So all of those are kind of rough for Tim. Each one of those is going to kill something.
Okay, going with the Syndicate Lackeys.
Yeah, and what I like here about that is the Eager Escort Fighter can go and kill the Falcon when it combines with a Palp ping, but then Palp won't be able to steal that Falcon because it'll be dead. So that's the benefit there. And then you kind of have to name Syndicate Lackeys with Kira, otherwise the Syndicate Lackeys come kill Kira for free and not die back. So that's what Rando Mando's doing. He's going to put the damage there. It looks like he forgot to Poggle.
Well, he started. Oh, because he didn't play. Yeah, he played the unit.
Yeah, he didn't put the battle droid out, which is what he would sack to finish off the Falcon. But he forgot.
There,
see,
he's doing it. He's trying.
Tim's letting him take it back, but Tim already attacked.
Yeah. Now, I was going to say, I figured he didn't sack the droid earlier because he wanted to create one with Poggle and sack that one later on.
Right, and that was the play, and he just missed it. Tim, being a gracious gentleman, let him take it back.
Yep.
Yes, Juan, me and Maddie are actually human brothers. We have the same parents.
And the blaster gets confiscated before Palpatine's turn is completed.
Yeah, and that's fine. I think like this is going to be a long game, and that confiscate, could be better used in a late game Chewbacca, but. I guess Palp doesn't want to fall that far behind. And when you draw cards and you have a card draw engine, then you probably don't mind firing off an early confiscate to save 2 damage.
Apologies, chat. I'm realizing that I did not update the standings at the end of round 10, the bar at the bottom, so I'm going to work on that in the background here for give me just a few minutes.
All right, so Tim gets his attack off, so he is able to go up to 8 resources this turn. Yeah, I agree. It was nice to let him get that take back. I might have fought that in the top cut.
Double U-wing.
Double U-wing. He's going to strip a
Z.
U-wing. I mean, you kind of have to.
Yep.
But Tim's smirk should be a meme. Should be a Star Wars Unlimited meme from here on out.
All right, chat.
Someone screen cap that to
right.
me and DM me on Discord, please.
That's right. The gauntlet has been thrown. Let's make it happen, chat.
My parents could be aliens. I'm not 100% sure.
Speaking of the U-wing, there it comes.
There it comes. Let's see what it gets. Sorry, someone just asked me my Starbucks order. So, brown sugar cortado.
Oh, you're gonna tell the whole world your Starbucks order.
I used to be a Misto guy. Shout out to I don't know. That story bricked. Emma Stone drinks Mistos. All right, let's see what's in this U-wing. Looking for Big Han probably. Yeah,
yep, there he is.
The move with a lot of these decks is Big Han. Against blue control, you're generally looking for, as Alex Blandon calls, a Chewie and a Tui. You want Chewbacca and some 2-drop, so you can get Chewbacca in there surviving things like Super Laser Blast and removal. Now, the only thing where things get scary is this part of the game where now Palp can flip, and you have to somehow keep your damage off of your unit so Palp doesn't steal something that's absolutely busted. Okay, so Palp's just going to steal Kira, which if I'm Tim, I'm thinking that's a win. I get to keep my big Han, and I think that might be because Rando Mando's holding a barrage. Tim has to decide which Han he wants to keep. If he attacks with Big Han first into the Kira or face, so he's going to go face. That means that Palp should probably barrage Leader Han here to stop the 4 damage coming. What Tim's going to do with the rest of his resources, I'm not sure. But, oh, no, he's just going to attack and kill Han with the Palp trigger. So 4 damage. The Han already had 1 damage.
He had 1 damage on him from
4,
earlier.
Yep,
yes.
4 damage from the Palpatine attack.
And then 1 more from the ping.
And then 1 more from the ping. And then gets to draw a card. And that P-38 floating around in space is also going to let him ping something for 2 if he ever decides to trigger that effect. So Palp close to stabilizing here. And, again, does have an overwhelming barrage. Should have no problem clearing this big Han. But what? All right. So Tim goes for Poe here and decides to spread out.
He's going to leave it. Yep.
He's in a tough spot because this is almost like a distraction because Kira kills Poe for free. The P-38 can kill that X-Wing.
Yeah.
So now he's got his tech. That's what he was looking to do, is get a tech out. Now, Rando Mando's at lethal. This is a move that Alex and all the Han Green players know, which is get your opponent to spend their attacks killing something other than tech. Use your last 4 for tech.
Okay.
Surprise strike in the row. Does 9. Rando Mando's in check. Does he see it?
In other words, Tim basically wants to claim here, and then his first action, he just surprise strikes
out of the row. Yeah, but the only problem is Rando Mando hasn't spent any resources. He still has overwhelming barrage in hand. Presumably, that's not a card I expect him to resource. So being able to clear the big Han means that lethal attack won't happen. This is where action, you might have heard the term action churning, where you want to take as many actions as you can to get your opponent to commit to resources so you can make the most optimal play. In this situation, Palpatine has so many actions, so many units, that it can take attacks, it can use trigger abilities to make Tim commit to the board with his resources. If not, the player ahead, the player with the bigger board, they just take initiative and they're happy with their opponent skipping their turn. That's what a control deck wants.
Right.
All right, I'm going to go check. I see Rebel Resource walking around, so I'm assuming his Sabine Yellow match is over.
After an 18 minutes, that's a long match for him.
Oh, maybe he just went to the bathroom.
Oh, I don't know. Could be. Sounds like somebody sent you that's the screen cap you were looking for.
Oh, did they? Nice.
Yep.
I see some alerts. Oh, yeah, thanks, Chetty.
So we're going to kill the X-Wing.
Oh, and Mark.
Ping tech. We're going to use the OB to clear Han.
Yep.
And then play an SLT.
So leaving tech on the board is pretty spooky. With Tim at as many resources as he's at, he's going to be at 9. He can actually play Big Han out of the row to kill the Palp.
Yep.
He can play a U-Wing. So let's see if we can get a glimpse. I'm tilting my head like it's going to help me see Tim's resources.
Yeah, I'm leaning in to kind of – we're catching glimpses of the tops of them. I've had people
wait
tell
till
me,
you see this Tim meme.
It's I can't wait for this.
Good.
That is great.
Oh, my God.
Oh, we're totally going to have fun with that one.
So good.
I've had people tell me, you know what, Raptor, you should put cameras under the table so that we can see the resources when they're face down. And I'm kind of like, guys, this isn't poker. I use the term on the button, but I use it lovingly. It's a nod, right? But come on.
All right, we got Judge Promo Foil
Enfys. Look at this.
Not so. Again, so that's coming out of the row for 9. Like I said, could play the 7 drops out of the row here once we get to 9 resources. The unfortunate part here is there's not anything really good to bounce.
No.
I certainly think that he would have rather Han killed Palp. Because now, we're in the point of the game where, a Maul is going to eat this for free. Vader is going to help finish this unit off and not die back. Yeah, so Vader can hit into the Emphas here, and what Palp can do is he can just send in the Bazine, and then whatever Vader pulls, ping to finish off the Emphas.
Right. That's the first Vader I've seen the entire weekend.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah, and so we're seeing Rando Mando play 2 things here, and I would imagine that's going to be the strategy. 5 damage into Emphas with Vader, 1 damage from Bazine, and then sacrifice the ISB agent on the Palp attack to finish Emphas and draw a card.
So Vader grabs a couple of friends here, Poggle and random ISB dude.
Yep, ISB dude is just Palp fodder here.
Yep. As he ambushes into the Infus.
And this is when it's going to be very hard for Tim to stabilize here, still having to do 9 damage. We're still in game 1, so he won't have things like traditionally people aren't playing home 1 in their main deck to like really claw out these grindy matchups.
Yeah. The Palp ping finishes off Enfys. Tim already claimed. I've had initiative on the wrong side of the board for a while. My apologies.
But he's going to 10 resources, so a big Han plus a fast Falcon really turn this game around potentially. I don't know how many cards are in Rando Mando's hand, but you know, he's got the Poggle engine back online, so he's just going to be able to turn every single card he plays into
another card.
Plus draw card.
Yeah.
And then one of the tricks with Han Green is you almost never skip resourcing.
Tim does not skip it. He's up to 10 now. And he looks like he's got 3 in his hand down there in the bottom right.
I don't think Tim should scoop this turn if he has gas.
He's so close. He's under 10.
He's under 10, but he's really got to rebuild in space here. Big Falcon, small Falcon would be great.
That's not the face of a man who knows what his next play is.
No, that is the opposite of the charm meme. Yeah, ISB agent, our old friend, actually, I played against an Asajj Tarkintown yesterday, who the first action they took was to ping my mercenary gunship and then Tarkintown it with ISB agent. Yeah, I was like, oh, remember the good times.
Yeah, you got to know ISB agent really well back when you were on Django all those months.
Yeah, I've probably played ISB agent 100 times in tournaments. You know, really looking for.
Speaking
really
of,
for a deck. So tech here. Yeah, I mean, if your only play is, so someone asked, should he scoop? If your only play is tech when Vader like eats the tech for free, or Palp just sacks the Poggle here.
Yeah, Palp's just going to take care of it.
You might as well just go to game 2. I really think the only thing Tim had was if he found another big Han. Because now he's at 6 resources.
Going to
waylaying a
Vader.
Vader. That's never what you want to do since you're just opening Vader to like bring out even more guys.
Yeah, he's just going to bring out more stuff.
Yeah. So yeah, I think in the essence of time, this is when you scoop. But you know, I will say this: he's only at 5 life, so
yeah,
just finding that big Han. All he has to do is find a big Han
and get it to stick.
Well, it's going to take out the Palp, and
that's actually a good point. That'll
actually
help
even
a lot.
Even little pilot Han now kills Palp.
That's a good point, actually. He's got a couple of ambush units that could clean this mess up. Well, not now.
All right, let's see. All right, so he does have fast Falcon. Ooh, traitorous.
Oof. I think now maybe you just.
Yeah, he's going to see what his draw step leads to. You know, he probably has a main deck confiscate. All right, I see my brother walking around.
He looks done.
Done?
Well, I mean, he just looks like he's done. That's not somebody who's getting up and going for a drink.
Yeah, we're in round 11, right?
Yes, sir.
He won.
Outstanding.
And he beat the guy. Yeah, he just won.
Outstanding.
Sick.
Yeah, Tim's just scooping here.
Yep. Okay, so we're going to see game 2. Because it's a grinding matchup, I expect we'll probably see the same kind of cards we saw. Well, we saw some of the cards out of Jay's list, like a salvage seems good here if Tim's got it. Home 1 seems good here if he's got it. Extra confiscates now that you saw that traitorous. One of the things that's like interesting in these late rounds before deck lists are exchanged is winning without showing your opponent too much information.
That's true.
And if Rando Mando could have won without traitorous, that might mean that Tim doesn't bring in extra confiscates or possibly even sides out a confiscate. Now he's not going to do that.
See, this is the kind of thing that I've never played deep enough into an event this large to even have a issue considering. But it's interesting to hear you say that because it's the strategy is obviously something you have to consider of how much do I want people to know about what I have in here before the moment that they're handed a page that says it all.
And in card gaming, we call that leveled thinking. And, like, what level are you going to play at? At level 0, you just play your cards out.
Right.
Like, hey, check out my it's 4 resources.
Let's go.
I played something that costs 4.
Yeah.
At level 1, you start to think, what could my opponent have?
Right.
And then at level 2, you think, well, what does my opponent think
that I have? Right.
And that's when you start saying, like, okay, well, I'm up huge here. I'm going to win no matter what. Do I really need to show him this traitorous?
Right. Do I really need to reveal all this information?
Yeah. And, of course, like, there's part of late games in a tournament. Your deck might be known. That's one of the benefits of teams. I might say, like, I get to say to Alex this morning, hey, I know from watching these guys play next to me that they're playing Bazine, that they're doing this thing.
Right.
You need to watch out for that if you play them in day 2.
Yep.
If you're not on a team or you don't have a community, you don't have that.
Right.
That's one of the reasons why I really love the KTOD community, because there's so much sharing among the 1,600 people. Like, we've over 100 people in the Discord that are participating in this event.
The event today.
At least, yeah. And we're a very sharing and open community.
Absolutely.
There's a lot of collaboration.
I've really enjoyed just the deck list chats and everything that have been there because I've learned a lot. Like, all those little deck threads are just full of information and people trying to help each other and collaborate.
I learn a lot, too. And I learn a lot from people who are like, I'm testing this. And, even the Vader Yellow thread, people are like, oh, well, we're testing this. I'm like, all right, well, I'm doing this. And then we compare notes and we make changes, and it's really beneficial. All right, we're seeing some openers here.
Yep, sideboarding complete. Game 2 inbound. Just a quick refresh in case you're joining late. There's your matchup, ladies and gentlemen.
All right, so it looks like Tim has Slow Falcon. I think he just resourced a Salvage. He's got all these, like, promo versions of cards, so I'm not recognizing them as easily.
All right, Tim's on the button here as we start game 2.
Yeah, he's going to play New Falcon. Prestige version.
Well, presuming he gets to keep it.
He does, because he kept 2 ships. Well, he's not going to be able to keep the Falcon, I would presume. Oh, is he actually taking the blue?
He's thinking about it.
He pointed at the blue leader. So that's one of the things I did talk to Alex about, like, oh, these guys are playing Bazine main deck, so, like, you got to be ready to keep 2 3-drops.
Okay.
So he discards blue leader. That means to me that he has an answer to this Falcon.
Well, the Eager E, right, that we've seen him play before, right, the little E-wing might be his answer.
Yeah, is that in his hand?
That is the question. I saw an overwhelming barrage, a no good to me dead, and a traitorous.
I mean, he's got a traitorous.
Yeah.
No, I see resupply.
Oh, resupply traitorous.
Yeah.
Excuse me.
So resupply traitorous could be spooky here.
It's possible he wants him to build that Falcon up and then steal it.
For sure. And that comes into what we were just talking about. Did Tim bring in extra confiscates because he saw the traitorous?
Yeah.
And if Tim didn't see that traitorous, this one might pay off even more. My IRL brother just won his match.
There you go.
Just shouted him out.
Sweet.
What seems scummy? I missed it.
I'm not sure. It's possible. Chat's basically saying maybe somebody is watching. They're behind. Maybe they're seeing the previous match where they're. I don't know.
Oh, yeah. I don't know about that.
Yeah, I don't know. No way to tell.
I don't think anyone cares that much.
I don't think it was all that bad. I think a lot of it was misunderstood.
No, but last night, like, you could go home at the, everyone's got an Airbnb. Let's watch the matches back. Let's see what we can learn. I don't think that's scummy.
Yeah.
See, Raptor, I like you so much. I'm going to let your ads play. I'm not going to hit skip on the ads I'm watching on my phone.
Aw, thank you.
All right, so we got ISB agent pinging the Phoenix Squadron A-Wing, and that A-Wing is going to come in for 3. So with that resource spent, Traitorous is off the board for this turn. Might be waiting for something juicier. Cycling that ISB agent to draw a card and kill a 2-health guy. All right, now the bait has been taken.
Yeah, it seems that way.
He's going to hit for 6. Now, Tim doesn't only have Confiscate to deal with this. He could also Waylay. Since that's not Chewbacca Pilot, Tim can bounce back to his hand.
True.
This is a turn where, like, if Tim had Resupply, he puts a card down, resupplies, goes up to 7 permanently, flips like that. That's when that resupply is really, really huge, when you spend 2 resources on 4.
There's a whole mountain of math behind playing this particular Han leader that I have never stopped to really invest in and understand the resourcing and the sequencing of it and how it all comes together.
The resupply stuff with Han Green is
with Han Green
really
is,
insane.
Yeah. I think probably Alex is the first one I've ever saw play that deck.
Yeah.
And he clearly spent enough time kind of noodling out how it was all supposed to work.
Yeah, and we've all reaped the benefets of it.
It seems that way.
I trained on this deck for PQs with Alex. And, like I said, we work with McClunky on this deck quite a bit. All right, so there's that Traitorous. Boom. Man, I love the way Tim plays cards, man. He just lays it out.
Well,
so all that stuff we just talked about came to fruition.
Confiscate?
He had the Confiscate. And again, would Tim have brought in the Confiscates if he didn't see that Traitorous game 1? I'm not sure. The world may never know.
May not, but it certainly paid dividends right there.
There's no larger blowout in these matches than your opponent taps out for Traitorous and you immediately kill it, especially for only 1 resource.
Yeah.
Now, Blaster from Han is
he's
probably
just
going to
pushing all
be
the
only play. I think Tim has Han Emphas in his hand, so I don't think he has anything else for 3. But he could put a second Blaster on Han if he has it.
Han literally having lethal damage in either lane here. He needs 1 action in either arena.
Yep.
Doesn't matter which.
That's what we call checkmate.
Pretty much.
Yep. Each arena is lethal, and your opponent has no board.
And Tim on the left there, scooping it up, knows that is over.
Yeah, Seth, we need to turn that into a GIF now. I just love how Tim, he like holds it up and he just lets it fall. And he was
he just boop.
Rando Mando didn't even have possession
he didn't even
of
have time
the Falcon
to take it away.
Yet. Yeah, he's like, no.
He's like, no. Take your shenanigans out of here, my friend.
What do we say to the God of Traitorous? Not today.
Not today.
So Chrono won. Frank won. Yoda Killer won. Mickey won. Derek Schwartz Music won. Creasy won.
Derek came by yesterday. I had him on stream in Denver, round 6. He was playing a local from Denver, playing on Cad Green, and he came up and he goes, I got to watch that match back. That was a really good match, and your stuff it looks so good. I was like, well, thank you for the compliment.
Yeah, it is. I mean, your stuff does. Look, I'm here for a reason, C-Raptor.
Oh, I appreciate that. Well, that was a lot quicker game 2 than game 1 was.
Yeah, a lot quicker, and they shuffled up quick. Didn't look like anyone made any changes to sideboarding.
I think they've made the changes they're going to make. So here's a question. You have a lot more experience and knowledge, and you've probably played far more games than I have of this and many others. The question has come up before. I've talked with Chad about it. The notion of, obviously, 3-game match, you very frequently sideboard after game 1. Are there circumstances under which you would go back and edit the sideboarding decisions you made after game 2?
Oh, absolutely. I mean, just thinking about the Traitorous thing. Like, what if Rando Mando had never showed the Traitorous, and then Tim sees the Traitorous in game 2, but he had cut out his Confiscate,
so
or maybe he didn't bring in any extras.
Okay, now he's got to go
bring
grab
extras.
Them. Okay.
Yeah. There's also cards that are better on when you go first than when you go second. So when I'm going second game 2, I might want a different turn 1 configuration than when I'm on the play.
Or at least the possibility of it, depending on how you draw.
Exactly.
Okay.
All right, so we see the opening Bazine, and this time Tim has 2 ships again, and he hasn't put a card down. That is one. So again, this is another benefit of knowing play versus draw here. Rando Mando Bazines before Tim puts a card down. If I were Rando Mando, I would have passed. Wait for Han to put the card down and then take their 3. That's the sauce. Now, of course, Tim has a Green Squadron A-Wing, and he could just do that, which he does.
Which he does.
But you do take the chance of taking the more important card. Tim Randomando is not as afraid of a Phoenix Squadron A-Wing as he is of a Millennium Falcon of a blue leader.
Indeed.
So the pass would benefit him there as well, other than he would lose initiative. But in a long game like this, I don't think he minds as much.
Ye old ISB agent, ladies and gentlemen.
So we're going to see this ISB agent play. He's doing this in lieu of playing a P-38, in lieu of resupplying. He's going to opt to draw the card instead and resupply at a later turn. That is one of the – is that Frozen in Carbonite? I think Randomando just drew Frozen in Carbonite.
It's possible.
I don't recognize that card, people. What is it?
Yes, I'm almost positive that's what that is. I think I can see the block. Yep, I'm pretty confident. That middle card, that's the second one from the right there, pretty sure that's what that is. We did see that played yesterday.
Did you?
I did. We did see a Frozen. I forget the matchup, but I remember seeing that card thinking, wow, that's a new one. I mean, I have it in here, but I haven't seen it in a while.
I heard Tada last round lost to the card, the bounty that plays the card you kill out of the graveyard.
Is that unrefusable offer?
Yeah, on a home one.
Oh my goodness.
Yeah, that's how Tada lost last round. All right, so this is the thing I'm talking about. Tim resupplied, so he gets the 6 resources to Palp's 4, Randomando's 4. But did he keep something that cost 6? Ray wasn't on unrefusable that played against him. It was Cad that played it. Cad Tarkentown.
All right.
All right, so Tim does have resources to spend. He's going to play Akira. Yep, Frozen Carbonite. Look at the pull by your boy.
There it is.
Even I know unplayable coasters when I see them.
I mean, you say unplayable.
I mean, clearly it is being played.
It is, but I guess my thing is, we talk about cards like Confiscate.
Right.
The impact they have.
Well, that's the thing.
But it is possible to overload your opponent with so many bad options, bad things that they want to deal with, that the Confiscates become more difficult to play or less effectual.
No doubt. The Frozen Carbonites clear the way for the Traitorous. But, I don't know.
I'm not necessarily disagreeing with you. I'm not saying it's a great card. My point is simply it is another option in the deck like this that is very clearly about stalling to get to where he wants to be.
I'm just trolling a little, but... one thing, though, is that Tim has elected to do that. He may not have, I know he's going for big swings, but he could play the Kira before Han and clear the way by calling No Good to Me Dead.
Yeah, that's a good point. The No Good is definitely impactful here, but I don't feel like it's catastrophic for Tim. Yeah, he hasn't pushed as much early damage as I'm sure he would like, but he's not in a bad position.
Shout out to Gandork. Kira called Syndicate Lackey again. I think we missed that. I think that was a given considering the hand.
Okay.
But I guess now we're going to see Frozen and Carbonite might be his primary strategy, right? He tapped down Han, so he never got the swing. And now, is he going to freeze him in Carbonite permanently? That'd be very thematic.
I mean, I was going to say, just like in the movie.
Just like in my favorite movie. I actually get to say that and mean it.
Nice.
Just like in my favorite movie, The Empire Strikes Back.
Just like in the movie. Start with an ISB. Show you the resupply. Ping Kira.
So still has those 4 resources up. We see a big Falcon. Out of the row. Oh, it's non-leader? Yeah, then I truly don't know.
Okay, then unfortunate.
Look, I said it was an unplayable coaster. I recognize the picture. That's all you're getting out of me, guys.
Doesn't mean I know what it does. But we are going to see it come into play here.
Doesn't mean I'm reading it. No, thanks for the shout-out. Thanks for letting me know what it does. There it is. Non-leader unit. You can't even freeze Han Solo.
I will say, it does feel odd to me that you can freeze vehicles. I almost wish it had said non-vehicle.
Yeah, I agree. But, it's more of a balance thing.
Oh, I get it.
They do a really, really great job of being thematic.
Concur.
And making it feel like Star Wars. But once in a while, for balance, you just have to break the rules.
I agree.
And honestly, you could freeze a ship in Carbonite. It just wouldn't be, you'd have practical, to do it in a giant hangar.
It's the same reason we're going to see blasters on Purgles in the ground arena or in space someday, right?
I know. I was talking about that with Force Choke. Someone tried to Force Choke my ship And I was like, well, you can't do that. It's ground only, I think. And they said, no, it's just non-vehicle.
It's non-vehicle.
And I was like, oh, well, Purgles.
Yeah, exactly.
So maybe.
Yep.
Minox.
Space whales with blasters, ladies and gentlemen. Film at 11.
Are we getting Minox?
You know, that's a good question. They haven't spoiled any.
There's an awful lot of moisture in here.
Ooh. Chat's it's getting spicy. Now, Tim finally able. I mean, Tim's building a board here. He was able to attack with Han this round.
No,
You
but
see
he's
the
at
7 drop.
7.
Is this what? Has he got a home 1? No, we're going.
Oh,
Ewing.
he's got Ewing.
He's just going to go wide as possible.
I mean, he's just pushing, right? Like
I don't blame him.
Palpatine, Randomando has no board. He can do Chewie and a Tui here. He can do Big Han here. He can even just play Emphas for no effect. The one
just
thing
have it
is,
on the board.
I think he should probably spread out more and not give Palpatine a big bomb to steal.
Bunch of mid-range kind of weenie little guys, maybe. Just thinking,
Yeah, I think like Poe plus Tech
Mm-hmm.
could be really good.
Yeah.
I think Poe and a Falcon could be really good. You might see, so, are we going
L3?
2-2-3?
It looks like he might. That's exactly what it looks like.
And the
There
Falcon,
it is.
fast Falcon. I can tell by the way Tim stood that up that it was going to be a fast Falcon. Yeah, this is just super wide. Now you don't care what Palpatine
You almost
steals.
don't because they're
Yeah.
just not that hard to kill.
So
whatever they are.
great strategy here by Tim. And because why? Okay, he's hitting for 3. Oh, and he has the other confiscate, or maybe the confiscate was last round, but yeah, the traitorous was last round.
Oh, he took care of the frozen. too,
Yeah,
did
he confiscated the frozen and carbonite. So Chewie and a Tui, right? Yeah, well, even better when you can go 2-2-3 against Palp, because really it doesn't like this P-38 can kill one thing, but what's scarier for Titanic is that the P-38 can put a damage on anything on 8 and let Palp steal it. So it's really, really smart to have Tim in this board state. And now whatever P-38 pings, Tim can attack with, and he's only got to do 14. And he's got, what has he got, 11, 15, 20 possible damage already?
Flip Palp and steal Kira is where he's headed. He's thinking. He's debating. He gets his options right now if he just goes straight to flip are Kira or the Falcon. And he's going Kira.
He's going to Kira, so that means he attacks with Han, because Han is the only thing in trouble of dying that's like of real consequence.
Mm-hmm.
P-38 can kill one of 2 ships, but not the big 5 attack
Not the big
ship.
hit. I mean, he'd be smart to trade into Fast Falcon here.
Yeah, so what he would trade with the Fast Falcon and then put a damage on Phoenix Squadron,
Mm-hmm.
or
And
maybe take the shield off of L3.
Yeah, and then try to ping it out later with Palpatine.
Yeah, but he's just too far behind. So, yep, he smartly kills the Falcon, and we'll see what his strategy is here. So that's fine, but all that's going to lead Tim to do is immediately
attack with the A-Wing, 100%. Yeah, I mean, they've been playing this game all with Palpatine around the whole time. As soon as he puts a damage on the A-Wing, the very next move is swinging with the A-Wing because you know it's going to get exploded. Tim seems to have another plan at this moment, though.
He might be trying to think about what so he might be worried about like a change of heart or something. He might not care about the 3 damage from the A-Wing.
He wants to get the big hit in one way or another.
So what's interesting here, right, is like Palp could kill Han, he could kill A-Wing, he could kill L3, but he can't kill L3 and Phoenix Squadron A-Wing with this attack. So if Tim has a surprise strike or a blaster, he would actually want Randomando to kill the Phoenix Squadron A-Wing so he could win the game with the blaster. Oh, I guess he would be 1 short, but he's still way ahead. All right, what can Randomando play? He's got 8 resources.
He's got a mountain of resources, but he's only got 2 health. I mean, if he's waiting on a reinforcement walk or something, he's waited a little too long, it feels like.
Yeah, I don't know that there's an out in the game for 8 that could get him there.
I don't think there is.
Even
Vader's
having
not
like
gonna do it.
stolen the Millennium Falcon earlier in the turn somehow and barraged off of it isn't really enough. But you need an AoE effect like Barrage to be able to clear enough of the board to stop this onslaught.
One of the things that I keep seeing Rando do is he almost, it seems like he waits until his opponent has claimed to start playing.
And this
things.
this is game if he doesn't have an answer.
Feels like it.
Oh, actually, he still has the Traitorous, so he actually does have the answer. Oh, he's not going to use the Traitorous though. Yeah, I think Randomando is just clinging here.
Yeah, I feel like he's kind of, it feels like a wish and a hope, right? Like he's just not going to get there. But it's not going to stop him from trying. There comes the Royal Guard into the ground arena. And there it is, but he doesn't have it. All right, ladies and gentlemen.
Well played. Way to claw back, Tim, Titanic. And well played by Randomando.
Nicely done. Great match from both players. I admit I am a Palpatine fan, but I have never figured this deck out. So there's a part of me the small part of me that's glad to see it doing this well, making it this far in the event, because I don't think I could ever pilot it to get it here.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time on Palpatine Yellow to the point where in set 3 I was going like a full Underworld McClunky package to try and like solve the Sabine matchup.
Okay.
You know, it's a good deck, but it does struggle against aggro.
Awesome. Well, guys, that's our match for the round. We've got probably about 15-ish minutes, so we'll take a quick break here. I'm pretty sure all the backup matches, that was the last streaming match, I think, just about to finish. So give us a few minutes, take a break, stretch your legs, and we will be back shortly. Let me come back to here. There we go.
Star Wars Unlimited is a trading card game of unlimited possibilities. One of the many unique features of this game is the variety provided by each of the individual aspects. These 6 aspects decide the general direction your cards and deck will function. They are vigilance, command, aggression, cunning, heroism, and villainy. Start deck building with the benefits provided by each aspect. All decks require 1 leader and 1 base. Your leader and base decide the aspects that you will focus on for deck building. Decks can be built with cards from any aspect, but there is a steep cost to straying from the aspects of your leader and base. Playing in aspect cards will allow you to spend only resources equal to the printed card cost. Playing out of aspect cards will cost an additional 2 resources per aspect, not shown on your leader or base cards. While you are rewarded for focusing on certain aspects, deck building in Star Wars Unlimited provides the opportunity to mix and match however you choose, allowing for truly unlimited possibilities. Build strategies around your favorite aspects and become the best in the galaxy. Star Wars Unlimited is a trading card game of unlimited possibilities. Aspects decide the general direction your cards and deck will function. Let's focus on vigilance. Defend your base and protect your allies with the vigilance aspect. Leverage the survivability of your troops to destroy your enemies. And further your own aspirations by keeping your base healthy. Heal up your side of the board. Your allies will follow your lead to defend for you, until the walking carpet himself stops your opponent in their tracks. Strengthen yourself to protect those around you. Make necessary sacrifices to support your friends. Protect yourself by removing whatever threats your opponent can muster. Construct the perfect defense, and your opponent cannot defeat you. Be vigilant in the fight and become the best in the galaxy.
What's up, everyone? Raptor here with a quick reminder about upcoming Star Wars Unlimited tournament coverage right here on the channel. The first Saturday in June, that's Saturday, June 7th, we'll be providing live coverage of the planetary qualifier at Dragon's Lair here in Houston, Texas. We're targeting an 11 a.m. or 1600 UTC start that day. A link to the YouTube event can be found in the video description or by following the link in the QR code on your screen right now. 1 week later, on Saturday, June 14th, we'll be up in Austin, Texas with live coverage of the planetary qualifier at the Dragon's Lair location up there. That will also be an 11 a.m. or 1600 UTC start. If you're watching on YouTube, again, the link to the scheduled stream can be found in the video description or by following the QR code you're looking at on your screen at this exact moment. With the Galactic Championships inching ever closer, I hope you will join us for more live coverage of competitive Star Wars Unlimited events.
Star Wars Unlimited is a trading card game of unlimited possibilities. Aspects decide the general direction your cards and deck will function. Let's focus on aggression. Attack relentlessly and deal out tons of damage with the aggression aspect. Keep your allies attacking, even if it hurts. Give your units powerful weapons with which to cut down your enemies. Demolish your opponent's base at any cost, striking early to ensure their defeat. When you fight for a cause, no defenses can stand in your way. Deal with an opposing threat with your formidable might. Overwhelm your foes and head for the enemy base. Make the best choices to continue the onslaught. Stay on the offensive with aggression aspect cards and become the best in the galaxy.
All right, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Round 12 begins here in Minnesota. We have a match lined up for you. Let's see, make sure I get this correct. Yep, here we go. On the left-hand side of your screen, just gotta get these, man, get these out of here. There they go. Sheesh, I gotta change the timer on that. All right, left-hand side of your screen, this is CJ telling me he's from Milford, New Hampshire?
Yeah.
Milford, New Hampshire. Not far from you guys, I guess.
No, he's my teammate.
Seems
he's
that way.
a local buddy of mine. We met playing Destiny. Met Andrew Cox, who's on the right, playing
Indeed.
Destiny.
There's Andrew.
And we used to all be teammates back when Unlimited started. Andrew's with BN now.
Okay. Outstanding.
And, yeah, I'm excited to see him on here. I've been dying to see this BN Vader list since Vader is also what I played, but I kind of hear that they had some spicy tech and that they like their list. And I'm like I said, I'm excited to see it.
Well, we definitely saw Frank's version of this list, right? He's a fellow BN teammate on Vader earlier in the day. We saw Frank late yesterday and early today.
That's true.
So we'll see if this is the same version or if he's got his own.
Yeah,
I'm
I'm sure that these guys are playing like one or two cards different from time to time. You know, preference is always key with these matchups. But I will say this is a fast and furious matchup. Sabine, I consider Chrono, CJ, one of the best, if not, the best Sabine players. So I think he's definitely in the conversation, and he's had a deep run here, and let's see how it goes.
Certainly has proven that he's one of the best in the room at a minimum, right? I mean, 9-2 is nothing to sneeze at. In this field, all these competitors, this many people, this many good players.
Yeah, he's doing great. His losses were to Ophir today.
Who's having an amazing run.
Still undefeated.
Amazing. Still undefeated after 11 rounds of Swiss.
And then he lost one yesterday. He said his deck kind of just died on him.
It happens.
Yeah, I mean, that happens with Sabine.
I went and checked. I think maybe it was 2 rounds ago. At one point, I looked, and Ophir had only lost 3 games in the entire weekend. I believe that man is on a hell of a run.
Yeah, he's really, really good.
He's going to be hard to beat. I mean, I think his top cut seed is basically guaranteed at this point. With 30 match points,
he is locked for.
Points.
He is locked. Yeah,
sure
but because he's the only undefeated, he can't draw this round. He has to play.
Okay.
But in effect, that's great because that means he's potentially knocking someone else down to help our teammates get in.
We will definitely see a wave of IDs, a small wave of IDs at the top next round. I'm sure people will break and get some food and so on.
I still only see the melee.
Thank you.
If
My
you don't
apologies.
mind
I'll fix that. There we go.
Cool. All right, Sabine unit. Oh, he's got Droid Starfighter in his deck, main deck, 1/2 Sab.
Yep. Saw some of that out of Frank's playing yesterday and was quite surprised.
Yeah, pretty spicy. I found that what a lot of the Vader Yellow players did to counteract the mirror was not play 1 HP guys. The issue with the two HP guys is they still die to the 1 HP guys, but they don't die to the TIE Fighter tokens.
Right.
And then, of course, Sabine unit, one of the best 2-drops, if not the best 2-drop in the game. Yeah, Secret Tech. It's a 1/2.
Yeah, Secret Tech. When I saw that card come out yesterday, I was shocked. I was like, wow, I thought I was the only person who'd ever actually put that card on a table.
So, obviously, this is a very risky play for Chrono because Reflex could have Sanctioner Shuttle. He could have Geonosis Patrol Fighter.
Could have a simple Waylay.
Or a Waylay. Or even a No Good To Me Dead at this point in the game might slow down Chrono enough.
Doesn't look like he had it.
It looks like he doesn't have it. And so this is where that leveled play comes in that we talked about earlier in one of the early rounds. If there's a world where, I'm not sure what Andrew had in his opening hand, but if he was thinking, well, there's no way Chrono would ever wing leader something against me. He knows I have Sanctioner Shuttle. He knows I have Bounce. He could resource it. And then Chrono just does the thing that your opponent doesn't think you'll do. Chrono went for a high-risk, high-reward play.
I have not set up leaders. I am behind the 8 ball. Keep talking.
Sorry.
That's my fix.
He made a high-risk, high-reward play, and it paid off. And now, Reflex is playing the Eager Escort Fighter into no space, which is fine. It's still... Or it killed the... no, he killed the wing leader with something else. But just, 4-1. Great attack value.
You killed the wing leader with the
the droid.
The droid did straight out.
But that leaves with Chrono with initiative, and he's gonna put Andrew to 11 here, at least. The one thing that Chrono just has to get his value out of that Sabine because it still is open to things like sanction or shuttle and bounce. But it's a lot less valuable for Andrew to take it out after it's attacked. And, of course, it's really easy for Andrew to close the gap on the life totals here because of that 4-attack ship. Any chance we can get Akbar on stream? We thought about it for round 1, but I don't know. Is he still in range?
I'll double check. I'll do producer type things in the background here. I clicked the wrong thing again. My apologies. Have a peek while I keep doing this while I look.
Yeah, it looks like it's Andrew's action. Oh, is that me? Thanks. I got my coffee delivered.
Must be nice to have friends with you in an event like this.
So they're kind of both in the delay game. We'll see if yep. All right, so the no good to me dead comes out on the Dark Saber. So Reflex went for another high value play here. And that took a lot of damage off the board and is going to take the damage off the board next turn.
I think the Akbar player has already dropped. I
Okay.
think. His round 11 match says it wasn't reported. Okay. Not sure there.
So one thing that Vader does a great job of in this matchup is not giving the ground anything to ambush into. There's no Wrecker 5 overflow that's coming in.
Nope. Then if you just ignore the ground, Sabine has nothing to overwhelm.
Right. So what is Chrono going to bring in? So he's at 12. So he's just tapping out. So this is dangerous because now, all right. So no Victor leader from Reflex, but he's still got 7 more damage coming in.
It's an OB.
Barrages. So that's 6, 7, 8, 9. Let's see. I'm just trying to see 5, 6.
I'm just going to wait for him to update his dice, and then I'll update the overlay.
9.
So he's got 17 on. So he's got 8 HP left.
If Chrono, so this should come up 3 points short for Reflex, and if Chrono has Rebel Assault, I think he wins.
Where was the Poe got murdered?
Poe got murdered by the Overwhelming Barrage.
Ah, okay. That's where the OB damage went. Got it.
Yep, there it is. 14 damage.
So he deals 4, 5, 6, 7. 8.
Yeah, it should be 14. I did it while we
lethal.
were doing the OB math.
There you go. 1 Rebel Assault, 2 Sabines, and a Darksaber is lethal damage here just that quickly.
I don't know. I think he's just double-checking the math. But, yeah.
Yep.
It was fast and furious, but I thought that Andrew would come up 3 damage short. He came up 2 damage short. But the Rebel Assault was all he needed.
All right. Game 1 in the books. That was quick. Come to here and let these two gentlemen do a sideboard thing. And then while they're doing that, let's encourage you guys to be here for some future coverage. Be right back.
What's up, everyone? Raptor here with a quick reminder about upcoming Star Wars Unlimited tournament coverage right here on the channel. The first Saturday in June, that's Saturday, June 7th, we'll be providing live coverage of the Planetary Qualifier at Dragon's Lair here in Houston, Texas. We're targeting an 11 a.m. or 1600 UTC start that day. A link to the YouTube event can be found in the video description or by following the link in the QR code on your screen right now. 1 week later, on Saturday, June 14th, we'll be up in Austin, Texas with live coverage of the Planetary Qualifier at the Dragon's Lair location up there. That will also be an 11 a.m. or 1600 UTC start. If you're watching on YouTube, again, the link to the scheduled stream can be found in the video description or by following the QR code you're looking at on your screen at this exact moment. With the Galactic Championships inching ever closer, I hope you will join us for more live coverage of competitive Star Wars Unlimited events.
And we're back.
We are indeed. We are indeed. Welcome back, everybody. Game 2 will be underway shortly in this round 12 of Swiss matchup here at the Star Wars Unlimited Regional Qualifier in Minneapolis. The only regional qualifier being held in North America here in season. We're still in season 0, aren't we? Officially?
We're still in season 0.
They're still trying to figure all this mess out, I guess.
Yeah, actually, the head of OP.
Ron's around here somewhere.
He So it's not Ron. It's the French gentleman. I can't think of his name off the top of my head.
I remember him
Yeah.
being introduced to everybody, but I've forgotten his name.
Came to dinner with us last night.
Did he really?
Yeah, he kind of
Fabulous.
just like talks to Ophir a lot, so he just
Okay.
kind of like tagged along. I don't think he like had anyone to hang with.
Okay.
And like super friendly guy. I forget where I was going with the story, but he was mentioning that he thinks season 1 is going to be insane.
I mean, I'm on board for this
I hope
plan.
so. What I'm
Whatever
really
the plan is, I'm on board.
What I'm really looking forward to is seeing how many points I would have had if I had played season 0 under season 1.
The eternal, look, I top 8'd yet another PQ.
Yeah, and then just be depressed that like, I'm still playing in day 1 in Vegas. Or, FFG, if you're listening, I could be streaming in Vegas with C-Raptor.
I mean,
I'm just saying.
You won't get any argument out of me, my friend.
We'll see if they're listening. We'll know.
see. We'll see.
Call your senators, people. Call your congressmen.
Call your congressman. I had a guy. Probably the best thing that happened to me yesterday. I was between rounds, whatever, and I had a gentleman come up to me and he shook my hand, thanked me for being here. He said, "Thank you for your Denver coverage." I said, "You appreciate it." He said, "No." He said, "That's why I'm here today." He goes, "Your Denver coverage convinced me that I wanted to come play competitive." And I was
awesome.
like, "That's probably one of the best compliments you could have given me. That was amazing."
Yeah, I will say that having not made day 2, all the people who come up to me to chat, get a signature, thank me for, helping the community, which, like, I'm in the community.
Of course.
I want to help it because I'm in it, but I'm not, it's just nice to get people talking to you.
I'm in the same way, right? Like, to me, I think I've said this on stream before. I've talked to so many other content creators. Like, to me, doing this, one of the best ways to encourage people to play the game is to show other people playing the game, especially at a high level, especially at large events where literally hundreds of your fellow players have gathered to do things all weekend. Not only just look at what you're missing, but hey, game is not dead. That is not a thing.
No, for sure. Yeah, and honestly, I love doing the community stuff, and I love making videos that are like I hope help people learn more about the game and how to be competitive. Like, that's absolutely my MO. I'm a teacher in my professional life, and it's just sort of like all the other projects I've tried to complete in life, it's just come down to, I just like helping people get on board to things.
It's one of the things that I do for some of the other stream work I do is I do, learn to play videos for ships in my PC gaming. My other life, I'm a World of Warship streamer.
Yep.
And I get tons of great feedback on those. So I've discovered I enjoy that kind of teaching and helping aspect as well.
Yeah, it's great, and it's rewarding.
It is.
Javier, go to the KTOD Discord, click on Chrono's curated list, and he has it posted. All the KTOD guys post their lists in the KTOD Discord so you can see them. So we see opening in space. We see a Phoenix Squadron A-Wing and a TIE LN coming out. Now, Andrew's got priority here with initiative. Will he trade into the Phoenix, or will he go base? I think there's a lot of value in just taking the spaceship off the table, because that thing could kill 2 other things presumably.
I mean, if I'm Andrew, I think I 100%. Yeah. I mean, that's
What's up, Casey?
Easy.
My boy from the old Star Wars CCG game. Shout out to Casey Honest in the chat.
You mean the old Decipher game?
Yeah, the old Decipher game.
Oh, I missed that game.
Predominant member of the community. All right, so we see Reflex makes a tie, and out comes Sabine Masterpiece. Doesn't ambush it here, just saves it. All right, and then Eager Escort Fighter going to clear it. Now this, when you're an aggro deck and you're controlling the board, you're not pushing damage. The one thing about Vader as an aggro deck is it kind of just ramps up to an unbeatable board position, and then like if Reflex had Victor Leader last game instead of Barrage, he would have won. Chrono tapped out on a very key term that would have lost the game if the play was Victor Leader.
Old school Fighters for Freedom.
Yeah,
Cards
Fighters
you don't
coming
see
in
much anymore.
Now, Clone Combat Ship, certainly an issue
wrong card then.
for Sabine. Now Sabine has to outrace this thing because it doesn't have anything that kills it really easily. The one benefit that Chrono does have is that that's only a 4 HP ship right now. So a ambushed Sabine's masterpiece will take it out currently.
And you're making a tough resource decision. He's been kind of agonizing over some of these resource decisions early in the game. He did it at the start. He did it at the end of round 1, and here we are at the end of round 3. Also, still kind of like, what do I do?
Hawaha Gaming. That is something I did talk to the head of OP about
man,
last night.
that's brutal.
Foiling.
When I heard they were giving people game losses in Denver because they had foils in their decks,
Look,
I was like,
you can't play with
me.
foils.
You gotta be kidding
every
me.
time I see someone playing with a foil, I think it's a huge mistake. I would never. Because you never want to put yourself in a position to get a game loss.
Yeah.
Someone from FFG gave me a bunch of Destiny spot glosses, and I was like, cool. So you guys know these exist. Can you get them to make unlimited spot glosses?
Would that be awesome to have spot gloss leaders? That
And
would
bases.
be great. And
Yeah.
bases. That would be awesome.
All right. So we're going to see
Swoop down.
a swoop down taking out Sabine. Now, no Darksaber. So that was only representing 3 damage. Fighters for Freedom, arguably just as dangerous. Potential to do more than 3 damage this turn. Spot Gloss is like an acrylic card, and some of them are like translucent see-through. So when you put them in it, like if you watched, like you could go to Etsy and go to Curled Paw Creatives and see like they make X-Wing and TIE Fighter tokens in this game that are see-through. So
I've
it's
seen
basically
those.
an
Those are
acrylic
great.
card. Yeah, I use them for all my games. I wasn't on stream yesterday, but I was on stream in other events with X-Wings and Battle Droids. All right, so this is what I meant. So, Andrew swooped down on Sabine, who was only doing 3 damage that turn, but Fighters for Freedom ended up doing 5 damage this turn because
Yep.
it played,
You played
2
Cassian.
red cards.
And then, played Cassidy and backed it up with the A-Wing, so 2 more damage sneaking through. Going to sack a Geonosian to bounce the A-Wing.
Yep. So he's going to keep the space lane clear. That Clone Combat Squadron now a 5/5. Not killable with the Sabine's Masterpiece ECL.
A much better game so far for Andrew, partly because we're about to reach the 6th resource turn, which we didn't get to last time.
Right. Yeah, this is much less of a race. Chrono
Yep.
drew ships this game, so some trading happened.
Mm-hmm.
But without a green unit, his Sabine's Masterpiece can only do 4 damage with an ECL. One thing Chrono could think about doing is like a blue leader to like pick something off and then go ground. All right, so he's going to kill 2 things. Now that Clone Squadron's only a 3/3, which is pretty nice. But Reflex could flip Vader onto it, and then
It becomes,
and then it'll be a 10/10
then it'll be, unfortunately,
with
huge.
with still 6 resources up. That's
That's terrifying.
this ship with Vader flip
Is insane.
is truly insane.
Yes.
And one of the things that I did with my list, I'm not sure that the BN guys are doing this, but I have resupply in my deck. So people would claim in an attempt to deal with that ship next turn, and I would resupply, put Vader on it, and swing for 15 or something.
You don't generally see resupply in these kind of Vader yellow decks because they play more lower to the ground, more cheap units to kind of go wide.
Right. Yeah, I'm not playing resupply to like get to my bombs. It's more to sneak a Vader flip a turn early and do so much damage that it's impossible. All right, so Chrono has the confiscate.
Sit on the confiscate.
But he does. So that's the other thing I love about the Vader flip onto the Clone Combat
still gets the
Squadron, because
ties.
you still get the
Still
ties,
get
and
the ties.
you're not swinging with a 10/10, but you're still got a 5/5.
You're still getting a big OB.
And then that's going to kill one thing, doing 7 damage.
Yep, it's a 7/7 clone combat.
And he
right
decides
now.
to go with the
Fighters for Freedom.
Yep.
3 to base. And then the combat squad swings in for 7.
Yep. And because Chrono used the ambush at the beginning of the turn, Andrew isn't able to make another TIE Fighter. So it's not fully powering up that Clone Combat Squadron as much as it possibly could have been. All right, so 13 to 11. Obviously, Andrew has got 5 extra life for having a 30-point base. This is where Chrono's probably going to have to tank on the pings. I would imagine that he doesn't want to ping too much. But, we're going to 7 resources. What could he have? I think he's tanking on the ping right now. Right now there's 5. Both of Chrono's units are susceptible to a myriad of Andrew's removal in the form of Geonosis Patrol Fighter, Sanctioner Shuttle. TIE Dagger would even take out Cassian if that's in the deck right now. So Chrono doesn't go to 7, which means he's not going to go resupply Fasibi, for a cause I believe in, that would be something a reason why he would go to 7, in my opinion, would be that.
So neither player resourcing this round.
Yeah, Vader rarely wants to go above 6.
The Vader decks I've seen over the weekend pretty much stop at 6.
Yeah,
They
if
really
you
go
have
beyond
something that turn, that like 2 things that add up to 7, you would do it. But otherwise, you can pretty much stay at 6 until.
Right.
There's only a few matchups where you really want to get to 8, so you can barrage and then follow up with a Victor leader. All right, so we're seeing a Victor 2, which is great because it makes an additional tie right away. So we do have that Rebel Assault. So we're going to see 8 come in. That puts Reflex at 21. And right now, it's a 7-7. He's taking 9, so.
Ooh, 10-10.
Yeah. Now
this becomes a real
so
problem.
10,
He
11,
definitely
12,
has
13,
lethal
14.
now.
He has lethal now.
Yep.
And I don't see any way for Chrono to do 9.
No, I don't think so. He can get one more out of the ping. It's a question of what's he going to do with this. He's got 6 unspent. His ECL's burned. Not sure what he would have in the row. You might be looking at another timely Sabine to clear the Victor leader would buy him a little bit of time, perhaps. It'd save him 3 damage.
Yeah, well, now he doesn't have the resources for it.
He doesn't.
All he's doing now is distracting.
So this is 10 or 9. 3, 7, 8, 9. 9. That is a massive clone combat squad.
Oh, so I guess he's 1 short of lethal in the current form.
You're right. He is 1 short.
But now Chrono has to claim because a single hit from the Clone Combat Squadron will kill him.
Yeah, I think he's got to claim here just to stay. I hope he draws into Rebel Assault or something. Looks like he already has claimed.
Yeah, at this point, it's really just got to be. I don't see. Because he's 1 short even with a Rebel Assault.
Yeah, I think he is. Where are we going? 22.
Yep, and this will put him to 24.
He's going to take out the A-Wing. Okay. Yeah, they haven't moved the token, but I'm confident that CJ claimed there.
Yeah, yeah. All right, going to 3.
Yeah, just going to scoop it. Okay. Game 3 it is.
Yeah, and one major thing about Game 3 is that Sabine will have initiative.
Yes.
Which will be the first time in the match that's happened.
Did he start? He started both games off the button?
Yeah, Andrew won the roll.
Okay.
CJ broke serve,
yeah.
and then
Okay.
Andrew just won with the token now.
All right then. You guys have good representation here in this in day 2. How many of your teammates made it?
5 of my teammates made it into the top 64 out of 8 of us.
Yes.
Ophir on Kira remains undefeated. Alex Blandon on Han 1 Green is X and 2 right now.
Okay.
Chrono, obviously on stream with Sabine.
9 and 2.
My little brother, Matty Gem, currently still alive with Han 2 Data Vault.
Okay.
And then John Tata, the legend, is younger than me, if people can believe it. He wanted me to make sure I shouted that out. Is still alive with Ray Data Vault. And then shout out to Richard Douglas, too. They went to time last round, and Tada had it. He just needed one more turn, and Richard conceded. Yeah, which was huge. Kept John alive.
It's always awesome when you see that kind of sportsmanship in these big events.
Richard has been a major member of our community since day one. He has, like, behind the scenes done things like donate shipping so I can send people shirts and coins that wouldn't otherwise get them. Like, he smoked me at Gen Con with Zuckus Forlom in his Boba Yellow deck, and I took it and I changed my deck. I put them in, and I beat him the next day. Like, he's given me good tech. All right. We got an insane game 3. Sabine versus Vader. CJ versus Andrew. Erstwhile teammates. Now adversaries. What will happen?
Ooh, man, you're just painting all the drama over
there.
Well,
I've been watching. They seem like they're having a very chill, convivial
seems
game.
Very,
so
very cordial.
There's definitely no bad blood there.
While we're doing shout-outs, I've got to give a huge shout-out to a member of my community in Houston, Ball Deep, who, without, like, unprompted, I did not ask for this. He just reached out to me one day when he heard I had to ship a bunch of stuff up here, and he goes, "What's that costing you?" And I told him, and he literally just sent me money to help cover the shipping cost of getting stuff up here.
That's what's up.
So,
all right, so we have
wow.
So we had a huge. This is the ideal play
for
Chrono here. He starts Sabine, the best 2-drop, and then he starts second turn ECL, Sabine's Masterpiece. After starting 2 1-drops, it was 2 for 1s him, and now Andrew's forced to play a Sanctioner Shuttle
for nothing.
For nothing.
For no gain.
It's just a 2/3. It will also die to the Sabine's Masterpiece. One thing that I wanted to shout out was that Chrono opted not to ping, even though he's on the play.
Yeah.
Which I thought he might. Now, right, he decided to keep initiative. He doesn't know if Reflex is going to play a second ship or not. He did. And now the pings come on.
That was really well managed.
Yep, but I imagine Andrew is going to open by killing that Sabine's Masterpiece. He simply cannot let it live.
He can't let it live.
Yeah. And then I'm going to check the round 12 results while we're here. Looks like Yoda Killer beat Cole Lapine.
Yep, there's the trade, as expected. Sabine smashes face.
Oh, sorry, not Yoda Killer. Carlos, the different Carlos.
CJ off the button here, waiting for Andrew to make a play.
Yep, we're going to see. So this is where we see that Vader actually does a very good job rebuilding. But what does he have cooked up for Sabine? That's like here's where the level thinking comes back in, right? Like Vader does a great job of dirtling, taking a bunch of actions of little consequence. So now you see he plays 2 1-drops. That means 2 resources still could have no good to me dead out.
Ooh,
it looks like Reflex is going to go with Chrono goes with another Sabine's Masterpiece and takes initiative instead of flipping Sabine.
Interesting.
I'm thinking maybe we're going to see a Rebel Assault here or just 2 for 1.
He's just going to do another 2 for 1. So he's going to knock out the Mining Guild tie with an attack and then ping the other one off the board.
He's now playing the control game. He gave up 3 damage to set this up, not letting Vader get the engine online. Without help, that TIE fighter is not going to kill the Sabine Masterpiece. Of course, there are plenty of ways to get that thing off the board. With 5 resources, Reflex could place just simply 1 other ship and another Sanctioner Shuttle, which I see in his hand. He could. There's still a Geonosis patrol fighter that could come out and take this board clear. But what does he have is the big question. I see a Sanctioner Shuttle and I see an OB, and I don't know if he has another play.
This is what I love about the work that the community does into some of these matchups, right, is that, ordinarily, one of the reasons you play Sabine, wow, that might be the worst OB in history.
No, there's been plenty of OBs off of Pershing that are way more anemic.
That's depressing.
That was huge. That's a lot of damage that would have otherwise hit. Like, Reflex isn't going to the ground. He doesn't have another way to take that out. But now he actually clears the board completely off that barrage. So I think that barrage was great. He only had 2 options, so like he took the one he had.
I get the play. It just always feels terrible to play an OB off of 1-1
when you clear your Sabine opponent's board, you got to be feeling pretty good. But does he have another 3-drop? Oh, and he has the Sindari Peacekeeper. That's going to be huge. Obviously, being able to push 3 damage, while healing 2 is absolutely massive in this matchup. Vader's already at 12 damage, and God forbid CJ has a Darksaber, it's going to start tokening up the Sundari Peacekeeper.
If he's sitting on a Darksaber over there, this is going to get away from Andrew in a hurry.
And now the Darksaber actually becomes more of a liability for Reflex because he doesn't have any unit, so he doesn't have any actions to take.
Yeah. This is exactly.
Chrono can slow roll a Battlefield Marine attack.
Yeah.
A 2-drop. He can even just attack with the Sundari Peacekeeper first
and buff it later.
Yeah,
no big deal.
So he can take infinite actions, and this is where you want to be.
We
talked before we started recording. I said the board is everything in this game, and this is the perfect example.
Yeah. Taking Vader into his flip turn with literally an empty board is that is masterful board control by CJ.
Yeah, and it was all because he did the thing that people are afraid to do sometimes, which is not flip your leader to take the value play.
Yeah, not flip your leader.
There have been certain games, even with the Vader deck, where I haven't flipped for 3-4 turns. All right, P38, one of the all-time great cards.
Another card you're intimately familiar with after all those months on Django.
Yeah, one of my faves. I miss him, honestly. I miss you, P38. All right, so we see a wing leader come out. It's going to otherwise answer the P38 Starfighter. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 damage on board right now for CJ if it doesn't get checked here. It's going to be really difficult for Andrew to battle back. He had to use that barrage the previous turn, so he doesn't have a way to clear this field. He has to flip in here.
They're going to ground. Sabine's going to knock him right back into the leader area with a fleet lieutenant.
And take 5 damage back.
CJ just having all the answers here. Andrew's body language kind of says a lot here.
Yeah, I mean, he's down to just a Sanctioner shuttle in hand. He cannot capture anything because he doesn't have any ships.
He doesn't have enough units. He's going to take initiative.
Yep.
Kind of all CJ here in game 3. It was a much better back and forth game in game 2, but CJ has done a brilliant job here of just keeping Vader out of his way.
Yep.
And clearing out his units.
And I do think that being the player that goes first was really monumental in game 3.
Yep.
That let CJ dictate the tempo of the game. That's why he was able to get that blowout Sabine's Masterpiece with ECL, and then the second Sabine's Masterpiece was just backbreaking. One, Vader can deal with. Like a lot of times with these board clearing plays, Vader can deal with one, but 2 becomes difficult.
We were talking about this a little yesterday with some of the European comrades. Shout out to Victor and Mark who worked yesterday commentating with me. That it feels like sometimes people undervalue initiative in this game, right? It is possible, I suppose, to overvalue it as well, but I think there are absolutely times that being on the button, taking that first action is 100% more valuable than 1 or 2 extra damage, depending on where you are.
It's one of the most important things in the game is understanding when to take initiative.
Yep.
And that wasn't there was no misplay on the other side. It was just Chrono decided I need the initiative here. I can't flip my leader. I need to take the board out. I need to stabilize this board in space.
Yep. Because if I don't, it's going to get away from me. Now's the time.
So great P38 attack here.
He's going to clear 2 units with it.
No, he's one
that's
short.
Yeah, that Sabine's got two experience tokens. She's going to swing in for 5. 6 HP remaining. CJ with the lethal on the board. Yeah,
he's conceding.
Andrew's like, this is over. Andrew was probably hoping his deck might feed him something there, but I don't know what he could have drawn into that would have gotten him out of that situation.
Yeah. It was just a tough draw to face with 2 Sabine's Masterpieces, but congratulations to CJ.
Yeah, well played to both players. That was great.
Insane run by Reflex and the BN team on that Vader deck. Actually, let me check the stats and see if Frank is still alive and Yoda Killer might still be alive. All right, my teammate Alex won.
Excellent.
Where's my brother?
Where are they?
KTOD, Maddie. I can't find him.
All right. We'll come back here real briefly, guys. All right. So we are down to it now. One final round of Swiss between us and the top 8 cut.
My brother won.
Outstanding.
Sorry.
No, you're fine. Stay
Yeah.
focused. You do you, man. I got this. So one more round of Swiss. Now, I think I'm going to double check here. I'm betting Ophir won, didn't he?
Still going.
Okay, so not unreported. Okay, yep, not reported yet. Either way, even if he loses to Frank, my expectation is he will ID out
Yeah.
The math works for him. 'cause
Whoever
he's
he gets
11-0.
paired against next round will be able to draw. Frank, because Frank is X1-1.
He may have to play.
He could have. Frank actually is the only player that maybe could have drawn.
Okay.
With Ophir.
Yeah.
But it's still risky.
Yeah.
You're better off trying to win, and we'll see. But next round, Ophir will be able to draw with whomever.
If presuming his opponent agrees, because they have to.
There's no way. It's mathematical.
Okay.
There's no way for whatever X1
Yeah.
that Ophir's to get paired against will
Yeah.
miss. X1-1
Yeah.
is guaranteed to
Is-
make
is
top
in.
8.
Okay.
No matter what.
Okay.
Because you'll be ahead of every single X2.
Fair.
Mathematically.
That's a good point.
So whoever he plays against will draw.
Okay.
So we won't have Ophir on stream until top 8.
No, won't happen.
But everyone else. So if there are any other pairs of X1s or X1-1s, they can draw.
Okay.
But
Who
anyone
gets paired down to an X2 has to play it out.
right.
Okay. Okay.
It's a little more complicated that because there could be a
That's
whole
just
bunch
kind
of
in
X2s.
general, yeah.
Yeah. It's messy,
Yes.
and without looking at the standings, it's difficult.
This is also where Swiss pairing maths and the ID rules start to I won't say work against you, but start to, let's say, cloud the waters about whether or not you can ID or not, the way the point system is working, and
Yeah.
so on and so forth. So, guys, give us about 15-ish minutes. There's 13 and change left on the timer, and then it'll probably take them about 5 minutes, 5 to 8 minutes to shuffle up and deal out one more round of Swiss. We're getting down to it, guys. We'll see you back here.
Yeah,
in
almost top
just-
cut.
Almost. We'll see you back here in just a few minutes.
Star Wars Unlimited is a trading card game of unlimited possibilities. Aspects decide the general direction your cards and deck will function. Let's focus on heroism and villainy. Choosing heroism will give you access to those fighting to make the galaxy a better place, while choosing villainy will direct you toward those who want to keep everything in order, no matter the cost. Swoop into the fight, or swarm your opponents. Support your fellow rebels, or hold down the fort. Find your way out of a bind, or continue to feed the war machine. Heroism or villainy. Choose a side and strive to be the best in the galaxy. Star Wars Unlimited is a trading card game of unlimited possibilities. Aspects decide the general direction your cards and deck will function. Let's focus on command. Marshal powerful units to overwhelm your foes with the command aspect. Strengthen your units with the might of the Imperial War Machine. Or join the fight to show them how it's done. Gather your squadron. Direct your other rebels to fight together. Or be an example to them in leading the charge. Be an asset on or off the field of combat. Stockpile your resources. Leverage your superior numbers and spring a trap on your enemies. Bolster your forces and build an army that your opponents cannot defeat. Take command of the battlefield and become the best in the galaxy.
Welcome in, everyone. Thanks for being here. One of the most common questions I get is, how can I support what you're doing with live event coverage of Star Wars Unlimited? Luckily, there are lots of ways, and not all of them actually cost anything. For starters, if you're tuned in on YouTube, throw the live stream a like and subscribe to the channel. A couple of simple clicks, and you'll have helped YouTube's algorithm put more of my Star Wars Unlimited content in front of people who might be interested. If you're tuned in on Twitch, simply throw me a follow. Both of these things won't cost you a cent and actually help a lot more than you think. If you're an Amazon Prime member, you might be able to support me on Twitch with only a few clicks. Once you've linked your Amazon account to Twitch, check the QR code on the screen for help doing that. You can use your Prime subscription to me on Twitch. It's already included in your Amazon Prime membership and costs you nothing additional out of pocket. Similarly, over on YouTube, you can use the Super Chat functionality. Just click the little dollar bill looking icon on the bottom right corner of the screen below the chat window. This is sort of like a tip, right? You can choose a dollar amount on a little scrolling bar and it highlights your chat message simultaneously. If you're interested in helping ensure these kinds of high quality Star Wars Unlimited tournament streams continue well into the future, I would also ask you to check out my Patreon over at patreon.com/craptor. QR code on the screen will take you there. I have 4 tiers of support that each come with various benefits, up to and including the embroidered polo shirts you see the team and I wearing on the stream when we cover events. For the cost of only a single booster pack per month, you can support these kinds of productions and get some really fun perks along the way. Whether you choose to pitch in and help keep us on the air or not, thanks for being here. We love Star Wars Unlimited, we love the community, and we look forward to showcasing more of both in the future.
Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Finally, at last, the last round of Swiss.
13 rounds, man.
Oh,
Holy
13 friggin' rounds, and we're finally here. Last round of Swiss. Now, we had to scramble a little bit to find a match. Let's talk a little bit about the ID rules that were added to Star Wars Unlimited not terribly long ago.
Right. So intentional draws get really complicated. Like, we could probably talk about these standings for 30 minutes. Some interesting things are going on here. Ophir Wu is undefeated. He is the only 12-0.
The only one.
The next place person is 10-2. Now, normally, if there was a 9-1, they would just draw.
Yep.
But because there are no 9-1s, and we have 3 teammates who are 10-2, Ophir has opted to play and try and beat Tetra Rain.
To knock him below a teammate.
Because there are so many 10-2s and 2 9-2-1s. If everyone drew in this round, people would not make it on tiebreakers.
Right.
So if Ophir beats Cluis, that will knock him to 10-3.
And
then
he'll be out.
The 3 teammates of ours who drew will automatically be above him.
Interesting.
So that's why you have a team, and that's why you don't concede to people who aren't on your team generally.
Yeah.
Obviously, there are situations where that's fine, and obviously you can do whatever you want to do. But in these situations, Ophir playing is paramount for one of our guys getting in.
Right.
Now, Alex, CJ, and Tata all have good tiebreakers, but things are still moving even into the last round.
And they're all 10-2. So basically, the short version is Ophir's going to play his match out in the hopes that his teammates can win. Or their teammates are IDing? The other guys are all IDing?
All of the other guys are already ID'd.
Okay.
I think that they're just rolling their dice on their good breakers. I didn't get to talk to them beforehand, and I also didn't want to be – I just kind of don't want to know whatever they've got cooking, but they did decide to draw for whatever reason, which they are allowed to do. Now, there are a bunch of other players at 10-2 who are still playing. They might be on the coverage streams. I don't know who is on stream on the other coverages. Our match got deck checked, so we're getting –
We've got a few minutes to kill.
We're getting do you know the names of the players?
This is Sam, and you're on table 103. This is Sam and Matt. We're going to be looking at a Bosk Data Vault versus a Kira Data Vault. The only Bosk, by the way, that made the top cut.
Yeah, that's pretty exciting. So, yeah, it was tough to find a game of consequence because a bunch of people declined and a bunch of people drew.
We did have a couple of matches just tell us no thank you.
Yeah.
Which they're allowed to do in Swiss, by the way.
High-pressure situation. For example, 2 Botha Network teammates got paired into each other. One is X2-1, one's 10-3.
Yep.
I have to imagine I don't know if they're playing, but I know if I was 10-3 and my teammate was 10-2-1, I would concede to my teammate. So, like, I can only imagine that isn't what's happening.
Yeah.
But right now, the only person we know is in the cut is Ophir.
Everybody else is still.
We're going to have to see how breakers.
Yeah, it's going to come down to breakers.
But I will be refreshing my phone
frequently and often.
Yeah, as often as I can.
So we'll be bringing you those updates during the round as best we can. In the meantime, we're still waiting on the judges to finish up this deck check.
Yep, and we thought about putting my brother on stream, but he's playing for essentially his world's buy because so many players will be in the top 8. The buys pass down.
Yeah, for sure.
If Maddie wins and he finishes 10-3, he could end up in like 9th, 10th, 11th place, which would mean a buy would pass down to him, which would be absolutely massive.
Yep.
So I figured maybe not put the pressure on him. He's currently in.
Now, what's his matchup? Just out of curiosity, he's playing. He's on. What is he playing? He's playing Ray. He's playing Han.
Matt's playing Han2
Data Vault. And then what's his matchup this round?
I'm not sure because I don't have. I don't have the screens
I can
you
look
have.
it up. I can tell you. He is paired up against. Here we go. He's playing Mickey. Isn't this Mickey D?
No, he played Mickey D last round and won.
Okay. This is. Hang on. I had Mac on stream yesterday. I'm on the wrong round. That's why. Thank you. I haven't looked at his pairing.
He's playing against Alec Rose, 23.
Yep, he's playing against. So he's playing against. It's Sabine ECL. That's his matchup.
Wait a minute. Frank conceded to Jeff. That doesn't make any sense.
That is what they did. Yes, sir. That's what they did. Maybe Frank doesn't want to keep going. I don't know. I got nothing here, but that's what happened. And then, of course, we have definitely, as you mentioned, a lot of those IDs going on there. in the rest of the kind of top table-ish areas.
I'm trying to find out what the deal is.
Okay. Yeah, I think Casero, I think that's just how they record it. I'm guessing, I don't know this, I'm guessing that Melee, he's saying that Melee says Creasy beat Frank already, 2-1, which seems weird. And I'm saying I think that that's just the way they have to do it. They have to game the system in Melee to force an ID. I don't know that.
No, you can just hit 003 draw.
Is there an, okay, then I don't know.
Yeah, I'm not sure. I texted some people.
Maybe they played earlier.
I'm not really sure what the deal is there.
It does say he won 2-1. Yeah, I have nothing there. I suppose it's also entirely possible that they didn't ID, that they just conceded games to each other. That's also legal.
Yeah, they can concede.
They can just literally say, okay, game 1, I concede. Game 2, you concede.
Okay,
whatever. Like, that's legal.
Frank is the lowest 9-2-1 on breakers.
Okay.
He might have realized that he's mathematically impossible to get top 8.
Okay.
And Jeff might not have a bye.
Okay.
And he could have vaulted him to like that 9 to 12 range.
Try to boost him up as far as he can.
That's the only thing I can really think of.
Okay.
And again, that's another great reason to have a teammate. The last rounds of these tournaments do get a little wonky.
It's definitely we didn't have quite so much of this in Denver for whatever reason. There was not as the ID rules were there. But there weren't a lot of people utilizing them, it doesn't feel like.
So, if you remember Denver, they really messed up the number of rounds.
That's true. We only had 11 rounds of Swiss in that huge field.
Right. So, there wasn't any opportunity to really draw in.
Right.
Because there were too few rounds, and so, like, there was too clean of a cut. Like, you couldn't guarantee a spot.
Right.
You know, I think that maybe Overly, who finished top seed, drew in his final round. But like I
think he might have been
that's
the only
really
one.
it. I think there was only one game that could have. So I think that's why.
Yeah, and it's there's an argument to be made. I've heard people argue this. I am not a math expert on Swiss rounds, ladies and gentlemen, and we could probably even if I make this comment, it's probably going to drive people in chat crazy. But I have heard it said that if you have an event where it's possible to simply kind of ID into the top, that you've had an event with too many rounds in it. And we know yesterday the original schedule was for 8 Swiss rounds, and it wasn't until they got everybody in the room that they said, oh, by the way, we're going to do 9.
They did, and if they'd kept it at 8, 16 people at X and 2 would have missed top 64.
Yes.
And that's a real big feel bad.
Yes.
By adding the 9th round, they did let a handful of X and 3s in.
Yeah, there was
but
there
no
was
one
5.
X and 2 got eliminated.
That's true. Everybody with 2 losses moved on.
So I think that's a better system.
Okay.
Because it's just like invites more people to get that over that hump, you know?
Okay. I don't disagree with you. I'm just thinking, I think it's interesting. I was, as the caster, it just threw me off a little bit for my my planning. I was like, oh, we're going to have an extra round of Swiss today. Okay, I didn't know that. No big deal. We've called the audible. We moved on. But it felt weird that they got all the way, it was several weeks ago that Ron went around and told everybody, okay, here's the break point for 9 rounds. And we didn't make the break point. And yet day of, they still decided, our bad, we're going to do 9 rounds.
It's true. Look, I would love to criticize FFG.
No.
But I do think that what they do is they're adapting and they're learning.
Yeah, exactly.
Now, should they know this stuff? Probably. But they look and say, all right, we didn't hit this threshold by 5 people. Let's just make it so 16 people don't feel terrible, which is great. Yeah. That's what I would want them to do.
I don't disagree with the decision. It just caught me off guard because we didn't know. Like, I didn't find that out until probably round 7.
Gotcha.
Right? Maybe round 6. It was well late in the day before anybody, at least I knew for sure, that we were doing 9 rounds of Swiss yesterday. Because I'm over here with my headset on during the players' meeting doing this. And nobody said anything to us in the chat, in the little chat we had with the judge staff.
Well,
so it was like,
yeah. I was like, how dare they make this 8 rounds? And then someone was like, they made it 9. And I was like, oh, okay.
I remember you said, I saw that conversation happen in Discord yesterday. I did see that. All right, well, guys, do you want to just take a break for a minute until they finish this deck check?
Yeah, whatever you want.
Let's just step away, guys. We do have a match. They're literally sitting over here waiting on us. The timer you're going to see on the screen is almost irrelevant at this point. These guys are going to almost have their own round timer. So give us a few minutes until they finish this deck check, and then we'll be right back. Actually, wait, are they I can't
No,
see.
they
There's
don't have
literally
it yet.
people standing in the way. So I'm not sure how long this can take. Give us a minute, and we'll be right back.
BRB.
Okay, guys, we're back. We have good news. The decks have been returned to the players at our table.
They've been checked.
Yay! Winning! This is what winning feels like. So, There are shuffling up. We'll be doing some cutting, and I'm guessing we'll be underway here in just a minute. Now, it does. There was a possible issue that got solved. No big deal. It's all done now. There was no penalty. Nothing. No big deal. That's all settled. So why don't we go ahead and meet our players? You think?
Yeah, but let's just say, don't use foils in your decks. That's all.
That's good advice. That's good advice.
Just don't do it.
Just don't do it. Just don't do it. Tim,
yeah, so who we got here?
Tim without that bling earlier, taking a risk.
Yeah. Well, and that's the thing.
Or
There-
foil
so,
the whole thing. Either do all or none, I guess.
Yeah, or I guess in this situation, the deck check took a little bit longer because they were investigating were there marked cards, or is it just can they find a pattern to what's foiled and what's not? And the answer was no. There's no penalties assessed. But, like, you got to be careful about your foils. If you only play 3 foils in your deck and they're all the Millennium Falcon and you just want to hit that Falcon every day, game 1, turn 1, you just, like,
That's a problem.
That's going to be a pattern.
That's a problem. Okay, let's have a
Intentional
look. Ladies and gentlemen, here we go. On the left-hand side of your screen, this is Sam, hailing from Cleveland. He's going to be bringing Bosk Green to the yard. This was the only Bosk deck in the top cut. He's playing Bosk Data Vault. On the right-hand side of your screen, this is Matt from Cedar Falls. He has himself a Kira Data Vault deck, and we are looking at this matchup here. Let's come over to the screen right here. There we go.
All right. Now, I love that these guys are holding their hands over the table. Makes me feel really good about what we got going on here. Definitely some interesting cards in the Bosk hand. He's got a main deck Fang Fighter there. He has a Reinforcement Walker in his hand. You got to wonder, like, that's such a good value card in these control sort of mirrors. That is he going to hold on to that all game? We see the ideal start out of a Kira deck, which is Dr. Pershing, and we see the ideal start out of a Bosk deck, which is Price on Your Head.
Quite literally the ideal start.
Yeah, the best thing that Bosk can do is ramp. And because it's a deck that can best utilize Price on Your Head, you get to play 9 ramp cards when you're Bosk. You get to play Super Laser Tech, you get to play Price on Your Head, you get to play Resupply. Whereas the Bounty is such a low impact card for non-Bosk decks. Almost no decks choose to run it as ramps 7 through 9.
All this time wasted, and I still forgot to do leaders.
Oh, boy. So now, with Super Laser Tech...
Boss could flip this turn.
Yeah, well, he doesn't have a way to kill the Super Laser Tech, and I doubt Matt is going to give him the kill for it. But we are going to see Bosk hit the late game way quicker than Kira, unless we see like a resupply here, which I think is in Matt's hand.
Matt drew and took initiative?
Oh, Matt didn't
He did.
do anything.
He drew a card off of Pershing and took initiative.
Now he draws the resupply. Not when you want to see it. A wizard is never late, but ramp is.
Ramp is
often,
always often late. That is true.
The one good thing Matt has going for him here is that there's no way for Bosk to kill the Super Laser Tech. So it'll be interesting to see what Matt answers with. Will Sam try and greed the Price on Your Head?
Nope. Looks
No,
like
he's going to leave it. He's going to take the ramp. Going to put a card down. Doesn't even look. There it is.
Just curious afterwards.
And then, yeah, so Bosk is now online. And then with the resupply, Kira is going to be able to flip and negate Bosk unless Sam can outmaneuver this. Now, Sam has a unit on board. He's got 4 unspent resources. He can do his best to take as many actions as he can to prompt the Kira flip. But because these decks both have 33 HP, Matt is really under no pressure to flip the Kira. He's gonna let Sam have a free turn here. So he's gonna take 4 more from the Bosk attack and see what he follows up with.
Just so you guys are aware, we were told by the judges that this match has 22 extra minutes on the timer. So do not sweat the timer in the bottom right.
Oh, and this is huge. Bosk had no play.
Yeah. He lost the whole round. He deployed but had nothing to put on the board.
Yeah, I don't know if he's just holding bombs or he's holding bounties, but not having like a punishing 1 there, or I don't know, just really anything.
No
and this is a
on the Super Laser
huge blowout
tech.
here.
Brutal.
Now Matt is